very young ages. That's how they indoctrinate them. Why do you think our government wants to get a hold of our children at such a young age? Because they want to indoctrinate them into liberal mindset.
Freedom 560 with Ken Clark, weekday afternoons at 1 o'clock on KLZ 560.
There's a lot of outrage, and there's a lot of reason to be outraged in this world.
Chris Cook.
Part of what I view my job is, you said, to inspire and give insight. Part of that inspiration is trying to motivate folks to get out and do the things that need to be done. Anger is a powerful motivator. That's what gets people to rallies. That's what gets people to call their congressman. That is what gets people to actually take action. And solutions-oriented radio is what Grassroots Radio Colorado is all about.
Grassroots Radio Colorado with Chris Cook. Weeknights at 6 p.m. on KLZ 560.
After I came home from the war, I lost everything. My job, my family. But this place, this is where I started to put my life back together.
A few weeks ago, my husband of 47 years had a stroke. I'm staying here in this room while he recovers. Without this place, I don't know what I'd do.
At Volunteers of America, we envision a world where everyone has a place to call home.
12 years my family lived in that house. Then it was gone, washed away in a flood. We were on the street. The day we came here, that's when I knew we could make it.
But it's not just about having a place to call home. It's about improving lives. Through our programs and support, our promise and hope, we work so that no one will be left behind. After all, who are we as a society if we don't help those who need it the most? To help strengthen your community, visit volunteersofamerica.org.
KLZ AM 560, KLZ HD Denver. Listen live at KLZ560radio.com. KLZ 560, a Crawford Broadcasting God and Country station.
It's a mighty fancy automobile. Oh, she's a real road king, all right. 0 to 60 in 7.5. She'll do a quarter mile, 13.40. 390 horsepower. 500 foot-pounds of torque. Whatever that is. Performance and image, that's what it's all about.
There's no such thing as a stupid question. This is Drive Radio. All of your automotive questions are just one phone call away. 303-477-5600. Drive Radio is made possible by the member shops of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. To find one near you, go to drive-radio.com. Now, Drive Radio on KLZ 560.
And it is Drive Radio. John Rush, your host, KLZ 560, along with Ken Bauer from Quick Tread, one of our great sponsors. So good morning, Ken.
Good morning, John.
A little closer to the mic, if you would.
Good morning.
There you go. Perfect. And, of course, on the other side of the glass, we have Matt Matulik, our great engineer, along with Larry Unger from Larry's Automotive. So, guys, thank you all so much for all the help that you give us each and every week. We wouldn't be able to do this without you. So, got a lot of topics today. Mostly, though, we want to talk about tires.
I'd like to hear that.
Always a big topic. Always a lot of questions, and I don't know if confusion is the right word, but let's just say that when it comes to buying tires, there's a lot of wives' tales still floating around, sort of like oil, when it comes to tires, what to buy, what works well, and so on. So if you've got a tire question specifically, we have our tire expert in studio with us. 303-477-5600 is our phone number. We also will take any call that you want to talk about. Doesn't matter. I'll take anything. Again, any question. Last week, we had a couple of guys call in that tried to how do I want to say this? Prove me wrong that there's no dumb question on Drive Radio. And it was kind of fun, actually. I enjoyed that. And I do say it a lot. There's no dumb, no stupid question on Drive Radio. If you don't know the answer, chances are somebody else out there doesn't, especially when it comes to your car. So, again, call us. We'd love to hear from you. 303-477-5600. And one question I was going to throw out just for some fun. We haven't done this one in a while. When we do, we get all kinds of great answers in cars that I've even forgotten about over the years. And I'll tell you in a minute why I thought of this topic today, or question of the day, I should say. What is your favorite muscle car of all time? So we'll get Matt, Larry, and Ken to all chime in on this. I'll chime in. Part of what got me going on this was I was fortunate enough to actually acquire back the car that I drove, the muscle car that I drove in high school that I had sold in my early 20s to buy a house. And, you're raising a family and doing all those things. So sold the car, knew the guy that I sold it to. And just by chance, I guess I should say, I don't really believe in chance, but my faith doesn't really allow me to believe in chance. But through the course of several events, I was able to actually buy that car back with the help of my father, uncle, and some others. I was actually able to get that car back, and it's a 1968 Buick Grand Sport 400, which I drove all through high school. And Ken's going to laugh at this. I drove that car through every type of snowstorm you can imagine back in the early 80s. And all that car had in it was a positive traction rear end and studded snow tires.
Studs go a long way.
I drove that car everywhere. I'm not exaggerating. I mean, there wasn't a day that I didn't not get to school or go to work or do whatever I needed to do driving that car. And, did you have to be a little bit careful in doing it? Yes, but that car went anywhere literally I wanted to go.
Imagine if it didn't have positive traction.
That was part of the key.
That would have been tough.
And it did help work well. But anyways, 303-477-5600. Adam in Glendale, you're the first guy on with a tire question. What's happening, Adam?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
We're doing well.
Growing up, especially like in high school and auto mechanics, they always taught us when you get new tires, or especially when the weather gets bad, you want the better tires on the front of the car. And the last couple of times I've gone to Firestone or Discount Tire, one of the commercial places, they put my brand new tires on the back of the car, and they say it's actually safer. And then I just have the worst time when I'm trying to drive in the snow.
What kind of car do you drive?
I drive a 99 Saturn SC1.
So front wheel drive.
Yeah.
They do say, and this is again one of these things where I don't want to say it's a Chevy versus Dodge sort of a thing, but there's two schools of thought on this. One school of thought is put the tires on the front, you'll get the best traction. Okay. That's
right.
kind of always been my opinion. Now, things have changed some, and there have been studies done and people that have come out and have said, really, as far as a front wheel drive car goes, as far as stability and keeping the car, in between the lanes, you want to put the new tires on the back to help you control the, fishtail or the skid of the car, things like that, and also braking. Now, you know what? I personally, it's a toss-up, I think.
Yeah, I think having the better tires in the back on a front-wheel drive car, putting them up in the front, you're going to accelerate a little bit better because you're going to grip the road that much better. But, when it comes down to safety, I think I'd feel a little bit better knowing that the back is a little more secure, a little less fishtailing, and if it takes me a little while longer to accelerate, so be it, until I get stuck.
And I think, Ken's right, and I think what's happened, Adam, is I'm not trying to be critical of anybody here, so please don't take this the wrong way, but we definitely don't have as many people on the road today that could drive a 1968 Buick Grand Sport in a snowstorm and get where they need to go in a rear-wheel drive car is what I'm trying to say. So our driving skill ability definitely isn't what it was even 25 years ago.
Yeah, I remember growing up, my folks would say, snowstorm, get out, go to a parking lot and practice.
Right.
And that's what I loved it, of course. And we need more of that.
Yeah. Most people don't do that anymore. So Adam, I hate to be wishy-washy on a subject, because typically I am not, as most of you know, I'm not wishy-washy at all. But this one, I think, comes down more to you, your car, and the driver of the car as much as anything. If it's just a flat-out novice, don't have a lot of experience driving in the snow, maybe don't even know the car as well, they haven't owned it for a very long time, I would side with Ken. If it's somebody that, on the other hand, knows the car extremely well, you've driven it for multiple years, you're experienced driving in the snow, me personally, I'd want them on the front. But that's again, I think that has to go back to each individual person.
Gotcha. Awesome. Thanks for your time, guys.
You're very welcome, Adam. That was a great question, by the way. I didn't have that on my list of questions for the day, and I've got quite a few when it comes to tires. But great question. Anyone else have a tire question? That's what we're here for. 303-477-5600. And the answer that I just gave, if you want to chime in on that and have experience where one way or the other works better, hey, I'm all ears.
Absolutely.
I also will say this. in that particular situation, and Adam, if you're still listening, it's always best to buy 4 if you can.
That's what I was going to say. Is I know it's not always in people's budget, but you really, really should be buying 4 at a time.
Yeah. And then you've got everything you need. You've got the traction on the front to get where you need to go. You've also got the additional braking when it comes to stopping, but then you also keep the back end from fishtailing around because you've got good tires there. So, again, if you can, you should buy a set. And I know at times that's hard for people to do, for various reasons, budgets and so on. But yeah, if you can, best thing to do is to try to buy 4 tires if at all possible. That's with any car out there. That's not just the front wheel drive car. That's especially true. And we should get into this a little bit later in the show. All-wheel drive vehicles, four-wheel drive vehicles, those, it's a have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have a choice.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to see people not do it.
Yeah. And the reason for that, guys, is mechanically speaking, not because of the handling of the car so much, but mechanically speaking, when the circumference of the tires are different from front to rear, the potential for damage on the transfer case, all-wheel drive system, whatever that particular vehicle has, you're just working everything that much harder when you get the circumference differences that happen from a new tire to an old. Jim, you're up next. You've got a question on tire pressure monitoring systems. What's going on?
Hey, this is Jim from Centennial. Last year, 2014, I had the privilege of getting 3 new sets of tires.
Okay.
And very expensive. One of the cars, an 04 Saturn, didn't have a TPMS, but the other 2 Toyotas did.
Okay.
And the tire dealership that I went to, they sold me, and I paid for it, a TPMS maintenance system. And I'm just wondering, does the TPMS system have to be maintained? I think it was $10 a tire or something like that.
No.
Only if it's broken. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what they're...
Well, they probably replaced the seals in there. There's some rubber O-rings and things like that. We don't do it unless it needs to be done, because really those O-rings are going to last a long, long time. So I hate to say they sold you a bill of goods, but...
It's an extra $10 add-on per tire they probably got.
It's pure profit.
I would not... Typically speaking, everybody out there listening, unless you've got a problem with the system, something's leaking past, you've got a problem with the sensor, I would not spend the money on that.
No, absolutely not.
Okay. Well, that's good news in the future.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I apologize that, right now that probably doesn't help you out a whole lot, but...
when you get to buy 3 new sets, it'll help you. So then you know.
Yes, it will.
Yeah.
And I guess I have a comment on a muscle car.
Oh, no, I'd love to hear it. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, well, I just saw a YouTube video was going around the internet last week or so, and it was a new Challenger, racing a Tesla S.
I saw that.
Did you see that?
I did see that.
Blew it away.
And the Tesla blew away the Challenger.
Not a fair. Yeah. It wasn't fair.
But the problem with that is, and we've talked about this on the show in the past, I haven't done it for a while now, is electric cars have no quote unquote wind up to them that a internal combustion engine has, where the Challenger's making horsepower at 3,000 4,000 RPM, for example. The Tesla, the minute you push on and that one actually has a different function in it where it's immediate power. The minute you step on the gas, it's all there. It's just a matter of keeping the tires glued to the ground. That's it.
Yeah, but on that note, John, you watch that video and the guy driving the Hellcat had no idea how to drive that car and spun the tires for a good 3 seconds.
And that's a problem, by the way, that I've seen many videos on the Hellcat, and that's a problem the Hellcat has, is with 707 horsepower, and actually it makes, really, we've figured out on a video I watched the other day, they're probably making around 750 horsepower with that car. It's just, without slicks on it, it's really hard to keep the tires on the ground.
Yeah, so you get a good driver behind the wheel of that, and it's going to whoop the Tesla. Not whoop. It won't whoop the Tesla, but it's going to win.
The Tesla's fast.
It is. It is.
Very fast.
Well, that was my comment on muscle cars.
I appreciate
Thanks
it.
so much.
Great comments, Jim. Appreciate that. Yeah, I should have actually... the problem with radio is it's hard to play some of those things and get the full value out of it. So I would encourage you, go out, find that video. Just go to YouTube, type in Tesla versus Challenger. It'll come right up. You can't miss it. And it is a fun video to actually watch. My son and I and some of the folks around our place watched it this past week. But I tell you what, Randy, Wally, you guys hang with us. We're going to come right back and catch you. I've got a break we've got to take right now. We have one line open, 303-477-5600. Both these guys have tire questions, and we'll get those as soon as we come back. Favorite muscle car of all time. I want to hear it. John Rush, Ken Bauer, Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
We've all been there. You're under the hood and suddenly realize you don't have the parts you need. Or even worse, you don't know what parts you need. Well, at Napa Auto Parts, we have ASE certified parts specialists that'll make sure you find that right part. One covered by a warranty good at any one of 6,000 Napa locations. Yeah, finding the right part might not be easy, but fortunately, finding the right part store is. Go to NapaOnline.com for the location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff.
Are your tires unsafe? If it's time to get new tires, don't go to a tire shop. Instead, let QuickTread bring its mobile tire shop to you. One call to 720-588-9055, and QuickTread's tire experts will help you choose the best tires for your vehicle, lifestyle, and budget. Then, QuickTread will bring its state-of-the-art mobile tire shop to your home or workplace and mount and balance your new tires right there, all while you relax and enjoy the 3 hours you didn't spend going to a regular tire shop. Give QuickTread a call at 720-588-9055 and see how much better buying new tires can be.
Having transmission problems? Stop by Larry's Automotive today. We're your only Colorado Select Auto Care in North Denver that also specializes in automatic and manual transmissions. We're a family-owned small business taking care of your family-owned fleet of cars, trucks, and SUVs since 1994. We specialize in transmission and drivetrain problems and offer a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty. We're also an ATRA member. Call us at 303-427-2108 for an appointment or find us on the web at coloradoselect.com. Larry's Automotive, a proud member of Colorado Select Auto Care.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle. Regardless of make or model, you want your vehicle to take you where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers offer. They've set the standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each member offers Napa Auto Care Peace of Mind warranty, along with the highest level of customer service and integrity. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-NAPA.
All right, we're back. One line open, 303-477-5600. Had a couple of phone calls that came in off air. One of them is asking us to explain the collector plate regulations again. I will do that. And I tell you what, I think what I will do. So those of you that are listening, if you can, let's do that after the 11 o'clock mark if I can. That way the people tomorrow on Sunday that listen to the show will actually be able to catch that. So I'll put that off. I'll do that at 11 o'clock, and I'll recap the collector plate rules here in Colorado. And then somebody else called in and said, okay, John, what do you mean by muscle car? Every generation has its own, quote unquote muscle car. That's fine. I didn't specify it for a reason because some of you may think that, you're, a 40 Ford was, your favorite muscle car. Some of you may think that, I doubt it, but maybe a, 78 Mustang 2 is your favorite muscle car. I don't really care. Just tell me what your favorite muscle car is. It really doesn't matter. It could be a muscle car in your own mind. You know what? We just want to just hear from you and see what you have to say and have some fun with this. So give us a call, 303-477-5600. Randy, you're up next.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Good morning, Randy.
I had a tire question, but that muscle car stuff really got me going.
Okay.
I don't know that you would classify a Chevy Vega as a muscle car, but my very first car was a 71 Chevy Vega station wagon, and it was probably one of the slowest cars that I've ever drove.
Those were actually muscle cars when guys dropped Chevy V8s in them.
Well, that's what I'm getting to. What happened was years later, I had a 72 Grand Am, and I had a 400 in it. There's a Grand Prix.
Okay.
And I was on Gratiot in Detroit, and I thought I was something. And here pulls next to me at the light is a Vega. I don't think it was a station wagon. I mean, raised up.
Right.
Got the scoop on the hood, all the noise. I was like, yeah, we'll see about this. That's all. I drove one. We took off, man. I barely seen the guy. I mean, it was like.
Oh, yeah, they were fast. Because they were really light. And back in those days, they actually had a V8 kit. You could buy a conversion kit that gave you all the exhaust, all the adapters you needed, motor mounts, radiator, everything. And they were, in fact, Kurt Hoffman, if you're listening, I think you guys owned one of those. If you do, call me and remind me of that. But I think you guys had one when you lived up the street from us. And they were really fast, Randy.
Yeah, I tell you, because my first one was very slow. Back when I bought it, $5 filled up the gas tank.
That's right.
to be biased, on my favorite muscle car, I would have to go back to my brother's 68 GTX with the 426 Hemi in it.
Yeah.
And he's won multiple trophies with that car. So
yeah,
that just no more Camaros, no more Firebirds, no more Mustangs. That was me.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
Roadrunner GTX.
Yeah, nice car.
And just to throw in a quickie, the fastest one I ever drove was a 96 or 98 Firebird Ram Air Trans Am with the WS6 package.
Wow.
And I mean, that thing was like a Corvette.
Wow.
I mean, I can't believe it.
Wow,
But
amazing.
my tire question was, it seems like they're getting away from the white walled tires, and I really like them. You got to kind of search them out. You know, maybe, Goodyear or something.
Yep.
And back in the day, my brother on his GTX had the red stripe around the tire, which
Yes.
looked pretty cool. You don't see
Yes.
those. But now here's the kicker now. The one I see that I don't know if it's available, help me out here. It might have been up at the drag strip, but they're Goodyear and they have yellow writing on them. Are those like special dragster
Yeah,
tires?
those are special drag tires. Yes.
Okay, so I can't
Yes.
there's no way I'm getting those.
You can, but you just got to make sure you're DOT legal, because if you get pulled over and don't have DOT legal tires on, they could actually, if they really want to get, mean about it, they could impound the car.
So I'm gonna jump in the dark here, but I take it those are the ones that are like slicks. There's no tread.
And even some will have some tread, but you got to make sure that's a DOT legal tire to drive on the street with.
If you're I'm sorry. If you're serious about getting one, we can certainly tell you whether or not it's DOT legal.
But not on a daily driver. You're not going to get one on.
There's no reason to, honestly. I mean, they look cool, yellow letters. If you really want yellow letters, buy a white wall tire and a yellow paint marker and make them yellow.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it'd be 30 days.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
Well,
Yeah,
okay,
most people don't realize this, but tires actually are white inside anyways. That's how they make the white work. They buff off the black to get the white belt to show back through is what they do.
Yeah, I just think that it gives it a little feature when you have, Goodyear Wrangler or such. So.
A lot of guys like, it's all, I know this just from being in the four-wheel drive market as long as I was, it's all preference. That was one of the first things we always had to ask somebody when we were, installing a new set of wheels and tires on a four-wheel drive truck. We'd customize
in or out.
white in or out, because everybody has a different preference.
Yeah, because I grew up with them, they have like the glass belted, which I don't even know if they make anymore.
No.
The ST or whatever. And that's what I grew up with, and I still like it.
Yep.
So,
yeah, good stuff. Good
anyway,
questions,
have a good
Randy.
weekend.
You bet.
Have a good
Appreciate it very
weekend.
much. Enjoy the warm weather out there, folks. I think we're going to have pretty decent weather until about Tuesday into Wednesday. So enjoy it while it's here. It is still February in Colorado. And if you don't have good tires, you will wish on Wednesday that you did. 303-477-5600 is our phone number. Again, Ken Bauer from Quick Tread is with us. Ken, give him your phone number real quick in case somebody wants to call you later after the show.
You bet. 720-588-9055.
Wally in Chicago, you're up next.
Do I get the award for the longest call?
You do at this point. If our guy from Florida calls, he might beat you, but right now you're it.
Okay, well, it is definitely winter in Chicago.
Yeah,
So-
you guys have actually had a lot of snow this year, haven't you?
Well, I'm just here. I'm on my way to Des Moines to pick up a truck. I called you last week about a truck. I actually ended up finding me an 07 F-150 one owner with just 25,000 miles.
Oh, very
on it.
cool.
So,
Very cool.
yeah, so
good job.
That's where I'm heading to today, and I'll be back in Denver late tonight.
Awesome. Good to hear.
Favorite muscle car? I'm a Falcon guy, so the Falcon Sprint.
Okay.
Not really a muscle car, but
No, but still qualifies in my book.
yeah. And then Quick Tread had brought me some turmoil, but I wanted to ask him, what do you think of Toyo tires?
Well, I have Toyo tires on my personal truck. I love them.
Yeah, me too. It's one of my favorites.
And what Toyo tire would you recommend for just a two-wheel drive regular cab, P-metric for an 07? It's a 17-inch rim, which kind of surprised me because it's just a basic XL package truck.
Are you going to drive it in the winter much?
It'll be driven. Yeah, my son will be driving it year-round.
Well, I mean, if you can swing having winter tires, obviously that's ideal. If you're not going to go with a winter tire, and you're partial to Toyo, which, like I said, is well justified. The Open Country AT,
I like those.
what I have. That, I mean, it's a phenomenal tire. It's not a winter tire. I mean, let's be honest. It's not going to perform in the snow and ice anywhere near what a winter tire will, but neither will any tire. As far as an all-season, all-terrain tire goes, it's pretty darn good, and you can't beat it for the price.
Yeah, they work well.
And the Toyos are American-made, correct?
No,
No, they are not.
Japanese ultimately.
Yeah, they are an overseas tire, but I will tell you that for selling them personally for as long as I did, and Ken's attesting to this right now, it was one of the truest tires. What I mean by that is took the least amount of weights to actually get the tire to balance out of anything we were selling, and I ran them on my own truck, and probably will head that direction again very soon.
Yeah, the other nice thing about Toyos, especially the AT that I'm talking about, the open country, is the tread depth is pretty it's pretty deep, and it lasts quite a bit longer.
Yep.
And
point.
it's going to clear out a lot of snow and ice.
Good point.
Snow and mud. I'm sorry.
Great point. It's a good value tire, Wally. You really can't go wrong with them.
And we sell a lot of them, so give us a call. We've got great prices on them.
Sounds good. Thank you.
You're very welcome, Wally. Best of luck to you. Drive careful on your way back, and I'm glad you found a good truck. One line open, 303-477-5600. Let's go to Steve, who's up next. Steve, welcome.
Hey, thank you, guys. I enjoy your show every Saturday morning in the garage. Turn the radio on, learn a lot.
Appreciate that.
Good to talk to you.
Thank you.
Hey, I've got one comment and then two related questions. The comment is, it's frustrating. I'm not that old. I'm only 57, but when I get down there and try to find the tire pressure on some of these tires in the wintertime, why do they hide it so small in the print rather than making it really big, since that's what you need to know?
Well, because let me stop you real quick there, because most of the manufacturers want you to go off of what's on the sticker on the door itself, on the door jamb, not what's on the tire. That's part of the reason why that's there. Now, if you change and go from on a truck, you go from a P series to an LT tire, then of course you need to go off of what's on the tire, not the door. But in most cases, they want you going off the door sticker, especially with TPMS systems, because if you vary from the TPMS settings that are designed for the vehicle, you're going to turn the light on.
If you vary in terms of
my
pressure.
next question.
That's right.
I have a small fleet of 4 cars with all the kids that I have, and I'm always checking the tire pressure and rotating them. And rarely does the tire pressure on the tire match the sticker. Usually the sticker's around 35 and the tires are 44 max. So
right.
I was curious, what do you recommend when you do change the tire? And you kind of answered that, but also what's the tolerance? How close should you maintain that? Is it plus or minus 2 PSI, or what do you recommend?
Yeah, that's about right. So if the door sticker says 35, for example, I wouldn't run much below 33 or as high as 37. In fact, I'd try to stay right at that 35 if that's what the door sticker says.
And here's part of the reason for that is, as you drive that car, the tires heat up. It could be cold outside. The tires are still heating up from the tremendous amount of friction, and it's heating up the air, and the air is expanding inside that tire. Or in the very cold, if you're going on a short drive, the opposite happens. And you'll notice your tires look a little lower in the cold weather when the car's been parked. So it gives you a little leeway to kind of raise or lower with the ambient temperature.
The other thing that I've gotten to the point of also, Steve, is I've gone to where I'm using it's not super expensive, but I bought years ago, spent $25-$30 and bought a good digital air gauge, which I think works so much better than the old, stick type gauges. And if you're checking them as often as you are, I would recommend that.
Heck yeah.
That was my last question. I was wanting to know what gauge you recommended, because I have 2 or 3 and they do vary, but I don't have a digital one.
The digital gauges work great. They're easy to see, especially when it's cold outside. I, like you, I'm getting old enough now that, my eyes aren't as good as they used to be, and it's a whole lot easier just to look down and read what that digital gauge says. And it holds the, you stick it on there, it holds the reading, you pull it off, exactly where you're at, where you need to adjust up or down, and they work really well. I would highly recommend going that direction.
Very good. Good stuff. Well, hey, thanks so much, you guys.
You bet.
Keep that up. I really appreciate the show.
You're very welcome, Steve. Thank you for listening. One line open, 303-477-5600. Let's get Dave in next before the bottom of the hour commercial break. Dave, welcome. What's going on?
Hey, guys. I just wanted to call in about a muscle car.
Sure.
Hey, I think one of the coolest ones out there is that Buick Grand National GNX with the 3.8 liter.
Yes.
Intercooled. I drove one years ago. It was so funny because I got on it and there was no big horsepower sound. There was just kind of a whine and a whistle. And man, did it get up and go.
Yes, they did.
Car.
Yeah, the mistake I made was I had a chance. My uncle and I were talking about this the other day. I had the chance back then, having my uncle was a dealer at the time, and
right.
Mistake I made was, I was young enough where I probably could have swung it, and wasn't married yet and all of that. I made a mistake. I should have bought one of those cars and tucked it away. But you know what? Hindsight's 20/20.
Oh yeah, what they make, like 247 or something?
Yeah, and they're bringing, a good one of those with really low miles is bringing close to 6 digits now.
Yeah, I would love one. And just another quick comment. My muscle car in my garage is I got a 1930 Cabriolet with a flathead Ford with about 38 horsepower.
Awesome.
Yeah, my dad and I just finished it up. He passed away about 3 years ago, but it's Lombardo blue with black fenders, and I got straw-colored wheels. It's a pretty neat car.
Well, you know what? In their day, that was the muscle car, because the flathead Ford revolutionized. That was the car that, of course, the gangsters and the moonshiners and everybody was running, because they had the most power in the day. So yeah, they were a muscle car in their day, definitely.
Yeah, my dad told me stories about a buddy with a flathead V8, and it would burn rubber for about 2 blocks in an old 33 or 33 Ford.
Yeah,
so.
They made a lot of power for their day.
All right, guys. Well, I love your show, and we'll be listening.
All right, appreciate it very much. Thank you, Dave. I got a couple lines open. Call us. What is your favorite muscle car? And to Dave's point a moment ago, it doesn't have to be anything modern. It could be both ends of the spectrum, which we've heard. I don't care. Just tell us your story, and we'd love to hear from you. 303-477-5600. Also, tires. If you have a tire question, as you can tell, most of the calls this morning have been on tires. Why? There's still a ton of just misconceptions and wives' tales and things that have been passed down from generation to generation. And it's sort of like oil changes. And things have changed. Tires are better today than they've ever been in history, and I mean that sincerely. You're buying the best product today that you've been able to buy ever in the history of buying tires. There's been tons and tons of changes. So if you've got a question on tires, please call us. This is the day to call. Ken Bauer from Quick Tread is with us. Give us a call. We'll get you on air, 303-477-5600. We're going to be back right after this. Don't go away. John Rush, Ken Bauer, Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
K&N's premium oil filters are very different. They make oil changes easier. K&N's wrench-off oil filters have a 1-inch nut welded on the top, so you can easily change the filter with a wrench or ratchet. And used with a Ziploc freezer bag, you can even remove a K&N oil filter with no oil spillage at all. Another great product from K&N, an American manufacturer since 1969.
Your wheel alignment can affect tire wear and fuel mileage that will cost you more for repairs and fuel. Arvada West uses state-of-the-art 3D imaging to align all 4 wheels of your vehicle. Be aware that irregular tire wear could also cause the need for additional alignment parts. Stop in or call us for our alignment special. Mention this ad and we'll inspect your vehicle and check your alignment starting at $69.95. Call Arvada West Auto at 303-422-1065. Stop by 11752 West 64th Avenue or visit us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for the highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business, so Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For the complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
At Napa, we're always trying to make the great parts we sell even better. From the bacteria-killing surface on our cabin air filters to our revolutionary new Adaptive One brakes. And every Napa part is covered by a warranty good at any of our 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores. Yeah, maybe you don't get this at your average auto parts store, but we've spent the last 80 years making sure we were anything but average. Go to NapaOnline.com for a location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff.
All right, John Rush, Rush to Reason, Drive Radio, KLZ 560. I knew I'd slip. Only do that once. I promise I won't do it again. Drive Radio, KLZ 560, John Rush, Ken Bauer. And we've got one line. Actually, Tom was just there. Call me back. We'll get you right on air. I apologize. You must have dropped off cell phone or something right there as we were coming back into the break. Give me a call. We'll get you right on air, 303-477-5600. Anything you want to know about tires, that's what we're here for, and anything else. On top of that, what's your favorite muscle car? Like I said earlier, it doesn't have to be anything, specific to an era. Just what's your favorite muscle car of all time? 303-477-5600. Jeff from Northglenn, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on, John?
Hey, good, Jeff. Good to hear from you.
Hey, I have a tire question.
Sure.
Just at the end of 2013, I bought some new takeoffs for my Mustang, and they were off of a Shelby.
Okay.
So the rear tires are, I believe it's a 35 series in the rear.
Okay.
And I'm wondering, why do I have a harder time hooking those up versus the 55 series that were on before?
Boy, I don't know. I really don't know. So what's your... So you had 55s on it before.
Yeah, 55s. They're a 18-inch tire, BFG.
And they hooked up
G-Force.
pretty well, but the 35s now aren't hooking up. So they're, well, and I think I probably know part of that reason is that I'd have to look at the tread pattern on that 35 series, but my guess is that that particular tire is probably designed more for a road course race than it is hooking up and going straight down the quarter mile. That'd be my guess.
It's a silly question here, but are they directional tires?
Yes.
Do you have them on the right way?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, they're the Goodyear F1 tires.
Yeah, and you just confirmed what I was thinking. That tire is not going to be designed for going down the quarter mile and hooking up. It's designed to go around the corner.
Yeah, because I mean, when I even if I try to get on it a little bit, like taking off from a light, especially going around the corner, I mean, the rear end of the car will break loose every time.
Yeah, that car and those tires are meant to be warmed up, of course, going around the track. And here's the other thing that can happen. How old are they, or do you know?
I don't know. They were new takeoffs off of a Shelby Mustang.
So they can't be too old, a couple of years maybe. But that particular tire, the older they get, the harder they get, and they will not perform as well.
Yeah, it seems like when I put them on, I thought they'd really hook up well compared to the G-forces that were on.
No, because again, that tire is meant to be, is meant for a, in fact, I could probably go to the website and even look it up and prove that. But that tire is meant to go around corners, not straight down the quarter mile.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of tread pattern on them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right. They're pretty slick, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, they are. Okay, John, I was just curious about that.
No, I think you're on the right track, Jeff.
All right, thank you.
You're very welcome. Appreciate the phone call. One line open, 303-477-5600. Tom is back. Tom, thanks for calling us back. What can we do for you?
I got an 03 GMC 1500.
Okay.
So it's 12 years old, but it's just now coming up on 70,000 miles.
Okay.
Fuel pump, because normally I'd be way past 100,000.
Right.
So just time versus mileage.
I'm more on fuel pumps mileage than I am time, so I think you're okay for a while. That'd be my opinion.
Okay. Normally like 90 or 100,000.
Or even over on an 03. The pumps were getting better the later in time as we got, and I definitely wouldn't worry about it till you at least hit the 100K mark. And at that point, you could have somebody do take a lab scope and check the fuel pump itself and see what the waveform looks like and see what the motor's doing inside the pump and so on. And that'd give you a pretty good indication of whether or not it's due or not.
Okay.
Okay. But I don't think I'd just run out tomorrow and put a pump in it just for the sake of putting a pump in it.
Yeah, no. And I'm not having any issues with it. It just, it was my dad's truck and I've just had it a couple of years.
Yep. I wouldn't worry about it at this point. Keep driving it and enjoy it.
And that pump's in the tank, right?
Yep.
On that car.
Yep. Submerged.
Yep. Okay. Thanks, guys.
You're very welcome. Thanks for calling us. We appreciate it very much. Ron has a tire question. Somebody needs to put him on hold so I can pick him up, guys. He's, I can't pick him up in here for some reason. Okay, there we go. That's better. All right, Ron, welcome. What's going on today?
Hey, yeah, I had some tire questions. You're talking about, the tires are, a lot better than they've ever been before. So this is kind of a stupid question, but to replace them, do you go strictly by the tread or a years, like if you have them on over 3 years, would you get them replaced?
3 years, you're fine. I wouldn't worry in the least about 3 years. When you start getting up, 5, I'd start thinking about it. 7, I wouldn't even have to think at that point. I mean, 7 is definitely way too old in my opinion. I mean, we see a lot of tires that are as shiny as glass because they're so old, but I mean, both factors are important. With the way that the tires are going these days, I mean, we have Hankook, for example, is really pushing the limit on tread life, and they're designing or putting out tires that are 100K warranty that people are going to wear out based on life or age of the tire long before tread actually wears out on those tires. And that's what I try to tell folks when they buy them is don't just go by the tread life warranty, because you may be paying more for a tire that one way or the other in 5 years is going to have to be replaced anyway.
Right. Then I have a question for you. I guess kind of sell me on your what you do. Like, you know, where I got my tires last time, you know, they do it for, I don't know, I guess maybe I paid for it. You know, they rotate it all the time and balance all the tires every, you know, 2,000, whatever they recommend. Do you include that in your prices too, or?
We do. We you know, we work on an appointment basis. That's how everything goes from the first day we install your tires. And so what we do is it's up to the customer to get in touch with us, of course, because we don't know the mileage on your car. And you say, you know, well, I'm up for a rotation or a rebalance. And all we do is say, okay, we're going to be in your neighborhood on Wednesday. Can we stop by and do it then, or whatever day we happen to be down there? So we absolutely do. And, you know, we encourage it because you want those tires to last. You need to be rotating them.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Hey, thanks a lot. Next time I need tires, I'm definitely calling you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Ron. Yeah, and real quick, Ken, we got a minute here before we go to get another caller or go to our break. Explain, you know, a little bit more about how that works. I think one of the misconceptions folks have is, okay, wait a minute, you're a mobile guy. Do I have to go to you still, or do we meet in a parking lot, or can you come to my house or the office? Explain how all that works.
Sure. So we are, in fact, we're a 100% mobile tire shop. So we don't have a brick and mortar shop. We are a full service tire shop on wheels. That's the best way to explain it. So what we do is the first contact we typically have with the customers, either an email or a phone call. We talk about what they drive, how they drive, what they like to do, you know, whether they're skiers, for example, and spend a lot of time in the mountains and need something that's a little more grippy or safe in the snow, versus maybe it's somebody who only drives the car in the summer. So we try to get a sense for how you drive, what your habits are, what your budget is, et cetera. And we try to match up, you know, the best tire for your money and for your lifestyle. At that point, we work, like I said, on
okay, hang on, I want to stop you for just a second.
You bet.
So the difference in what Ken just said versus running into the local, you know, big box store or one of the local tire stores or even your local wholesale club is Ken's finding out the tire you need and going to match the tire for your vehicle, rather than you going in and finding out what somebody's got in stock or what the spiff of the day is to push on that tire to get it sold to you.
Correct.
And those things I just mentioned happen, guys.
Every day. It happens every day. And that's, we see it from our wholesalers. Our tire suppliers, you know, say.
Okay, so I would just want to stop and clarify that. So continue on.
Appreciate it. Okay, so anyway, we work on an appointment basis. So we'll set an appointment, typically, you know, within 24 hours, if that works for you, 48 hours sometimes. But we try to get out there in 24 hours or less and come right to where you are. So we're all about making it as convenient as we can. We believe that the 3 hours you would have spent going to a regular tire shop is better spent with your kids, at home, at work, doing whatever it is you want to do. So we will come to your house and install right there in the driveway. We'll come to your workplace, whatever you want, we'll do. We're a full service shop, and we've got the same state-of-the-art equipment that any of the big guys do. We've just figured out how to make it all mobile.
Yeah. And my feeling on Ken and why we really wanted them as a partner of Drive Radio is the time that it'll save you, the fact that he's matching up the right tire for you, your lifestyle, and your vehicle, so we know we're getting you in the right tire that you need, which means your longevity is going to be much better. And then on top of that, you're not going in some place where you're going to get upsold on a bunch of stuff that you technically don't need.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm not criticizing anybody, but that's the stuff that happens, folks, because here's the deal. I know this as well as anybody. You can't make money just selling tires. Okay. It's hard to do that. Now, Ken's got a unique situation because they don't have the overhead a typical tire store would have. So yes, they can do that. But in a typical brick and mortar tire store, it's hard to make money just selling tires. You've got to sell the other services to make things work. So typically speaking, they're going to get you in there and sell you something else. That's just how the process works. We want to just get you the tires you need and then have our other Colorado Select facilities take care of all the other maintenance that you need. That way you know you're buying exactly what you need when you need it. All right, let's go to Art, who's up next. Art, what's going on today?
Yeah, I've got a 90 Mustang convertible, 5-liter automatic transmission with the original aluminum Hurricane rims, 15-inch.
Got it. Yeah, know them very well.
They're hard to find tires for.
Mm-hmm.
And I occasionally have to use it in the wintertime, and that is almost suicide on that car. So I want to know what kind of a tire you would recommend for that car.
That is a tough question. You know, I'm not, Is it a GT?
Yeah, what size? Do you know specifically what size tire it is, Art?
No, I don't know what the original size was. I was just looking in the owner's manual, and they don't tell you what the original size was.
Okay. If you want to, Art, I hate to not answer on air, but could I call you in a little bit and talk through this with you? I think it's more detailed than we really need to do on the air, but I can do some research on the Hurricane wheel and what size it is, what goes well with it, and give you a much better answer than I can here on the air, where I'm pretty limited as to
you can do that.
Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to kick you back to Larry. Can you give him your number, and I'll get in touch with you this afternoon?
Okay.
Thank you
so much. That's perfect, Art. That works out great. Okay, guys, with that, we're going to take a quick break. As you can tell, we're talking tires and muscle cars, and they kind of go hand in hand, because a good muscle car doesn't work very well with bad tires, but neither does your regular car you're driving around on a daily basis, especially in the snow that's coming up this Wednesday. So we want to take care of you, make sure you've got the right tire for the conditions that you're driving in, for the vehicle that you drive, and so on. So call us. We'll get you fixed up that way. Also, tell me, what's your favorite muscle car? I've got a couple of things we're going to come back at the 11 o'clock hour that I'm saving so the people on Sunday can hear it. There is a piece of legislation right now trying to go through the Colorado legislation that would actually get rid of the time lapse when you go to renew your plates, and you've got an older car maybe that you're working on in the garage, and you can't get your plates renewed because it's out of commission right now. If you let a month lapse, it's $25, all the way up to $100 if you let the thing lapse. They're trying to eliminate that. I'll explain more of that when we get in the 11 o'clock hour. But most of all, I want to talk to you. Questions you've got, let us know. 303-477-5600. Tires, oil changes, you name it, we'll answer it. We're going to get into more specifics on tires here in just a moment, but call us. We want to talk to you. This is your show. We're doing this for you. 303-477-5600. John Rush, your host, along with Ken Bauer from Quick Tread Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
At Extreme Auto, we're committed to providing the highest level of service possible to our customers. Our highly trained technicians are ASE certified and are dedicated to providing you with world-class service. We have years of experience working on both domestic and import vehicles of all makes and models, and will work with you to find cost-effective repair and maintenance alternatives. We don't have hidden fees, and we don't do unnecessary repairs. Serving Parker and the surrounding areas, come and see us, the professionals at Extreme Auto, and rest easy knowing you'll get quality work done for a fair price. Our promise to you: extreme service, extreme value, extreme satisfaction. Call us to schedule your appointment today.
Ever try to buy an air filter and get lost in catalogs and vehicle descriptions? Well, K&N, the inventor of reusable cotton filters, has got the answer to the mess. Just visit knfilters.com. and enter your vehicle identification number off your dashboard or car registration, and K&N will show you the filter that fits your car. It's never been easier to buy a K&N, the filter that helps your car run better.
Need a one-stop auto repair solution in northern Colorado? At Fort Collins 4x4 Center, they service and maintain more than just 4x4s. From diesel pickups to economy cars, their team of service specialists and technicians have the computer diagnostics, tools, and expertise to service and repair any make or model. They combine their skills with integrity, giving you the best service in the industry. From preventative maintenance to major repairs, you can trust your vehicle to Fort Collins 4x4, located just a few blocks north of Old Town on College Avenue in Hemlock. They're open Monday through Friday, 7:30 until 5:30, with convenient shuttle service and after-hours drop. If you're ready to form a solid relationship with an auto repair shop, the new owners at Fort Collins 4x4 are committed to providing the professional and personal service you're looking for. Give them a call at 970-482-5500. 970-482-5500. Check them out on the web at FortCollins4x4.com or follow them on Facebook at FortCollins4x4.com.
Hunting down that hard-to-find part for an out-of-the-ordinary car can be quite a time-consuming chore. Unless, of course, you just go around the corner to your local Napa Auto Parts store, where we have over 310,000 parts, all of them made to fit and perform just like the original. Yeah, there are people who say it's the journey and not the destination, but those people have never tried to find an alternator for an 82 Fiat on a Saturday. Go to NapaOnline.com for the location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff.
All right, we're back. John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560, along with Ken Bauer from Quick Tread, and we were just looking up some stuff on the 90 Mustang, and I think that's going to be a 15-inch wheel, but don't quote me on that. We'll find more out about that and see if we can get some information even through the rest of the show. Anyways, love to talk to you. 303-477-5600. Call us, and we'll get you right on air. Questions about tires, about you name it. You got a light on, you got a noise, you got a maintenance question, you got an oil change question, you name it, call us. We'll get you fixed up. I also am asking, what is your favorite muscle car of all time? And it doesn't have to be era specific. Just what's your favorite muscle car of all time? 303-477-5600. That's our phone number. So I've got a couple of questions for Ken that I just kind of threw out there. Number one, how long should tires last?
Age or tread? There's a difference.
That's what I'm at. That's why I'm asking.
So
because I think there's a misconception that people buy a tire that's got a 70,000 mile warranty. Will they really last 70,000 miles?
It depends. So I drive 25 to 30,000 miles a year. So for me, yes, it would. I would outrun the tire tread. For most people, no. And so typically, like I alluded to before, we'll ask somebody, how many miles a year do you drive? And they say, I drive 10,000 miles a year. Then don't pay the premium to buy an 80,000 or a 90 or 100,000 mile rated tire, because you're paying for something you are not going to be able to safely use. So rule of thumb is at 5 years, regardless of tread, at 5 years, it's time to start thinking about new tires, if not just pulling the trigger and getting new ones, because you're going to have to anyway. The difference is, and the reason I say it's time to start thinking about it potentially is, do you park the car inside? Do you park the car outside? If you park the car outside, 5 years, you absolutely need to be, because that UV ray or the UV rays from the sun are breaking down that rubber from day one. If it's in the garage, it's a little bit better.
Okay, got it.
Or in a parking garage all day, whatever. So that factors into play quite a bit. From a tread standpoint, gosh, I mean, if you drive a 3/4 ton pickup, you're going to burn through tires a heck of a lot faster than if you drive a Prius. It's just a matter of what
size, weight, and so on.
Absolutely.
Got it. So, okay. So cost, that's a big deal. And I know you can't answer all of this, on air. And this is a subject we could spend the next 2 hours talking about. But why is there such a difference in prices of tires when people are out shopping?
Well, just like anything, there's going to be a huge gamut or a huge range of prices. So part of it is the name. Are you paying top dollar for a Michelin, for example? Michelin is a phenomenal tire, but break out the checkbook because they are extraordinarily expensive. We're huge fans of Michelin's. However, we also think that there are plenty of tires that are a better bang for the buck, so to speak. You can spend a little less money or a lot less money in some cases and still get one heck of a tire. So, the amount of technology, the marketing's a huge part of it. The marketing behind a tire, if you take a Toyo, let's say, and compare it to a Michelin, and you look at the marketing, Toyos are marketed very lightly compared to a Michelin. They're not buying Super Bowl ads and things like that.
Right.
Well, you're paying for those ads. And so at the end of the day, you can get an equally good tire that is marketed much less or sold through different channels than you can from a Michelin. It's just that simple.
Doesn't mean the tire's any worse. It's just they've chose not to market it the same way the other company is.
Without a doubt. And I am not in any way knocking Michelin. They are great tires. But give me $200 to buy a tire or two, I'm gonna buy the less expensive one that's still just as good a quality.
Got it. All right, we've got a call coming in as we speak, and another call that's getting lined up. 303-477-5600. As soon as Larry gets off the phone, we'll answer the next one. I'm going to put a couple of these on hold real quick. So you're on hold. If I just answered you, I'll get to you in just a minute as soon as Larry gets done answering the call that he's on right now. And then we've got one line open, 303-477-5600. Give us a call and I'll get you right on air. I'll do the same thing. So I just put somebody else on hold. So Larry, I've got two of them on hold for you right now, and we'll take this other call that you're on right now as soon as we can. And again, as soon as somebody drops off, give us a call, 303-477-5600. And as soon as we get the phones going, I'll get to the next call. In the meantime, because it looks like they're working on the other side of the glass pretty heavily. So tell you what, while they're getting calls queued up here, what makes... Here we go. Never mind. I was gonna say what makes one tire better than another. We'll get to that here in just a minute. Let's go to Arnie, who's next. Arnie, welcome.
Hi.
How you doing, Arnie?
Good. This is a little bit of a makeup session from last week.
Okay.
Emissions.
Yes.
Inspections. And what I kind of missed, I think almost all of it. I just know that you did it. And my question is, okay, I understand if you go by the mobile or whatever you want to call them,
the mobile testing stations.
Yeah, testing stations, and you pass, then presumably your registration, re-registration doesn't have emission.
Yeah, it'll say no emissions required.
Okay. Does it say that?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what's the timeliness relationship between going by one and passing versus when your registration is due and you go in?
Here it is.
Or
It
you
says
don't go in and you go online, right?
No, that's perfect. Rapid Screen lets many 1982 and newer vehicles skip the trip to an inspection station to qualify.
82 and newer.
82 and newer to qualify.
Okay.
There must be 2 clean Rapid Screen readings for a vehicle within a 12-month window in the 14 months before its registration renewal. The cutoff, let me finish, the cutoff is 2 months before the registration renewal month. Okay?
So you need to get it done 2 months before.
2 months before, within a 14-month or within a 12-month period.
12 months, let's say, yeah. That's
14 months prior to your renewal.
Yeah.
Which gives you really, if you look at it, there's a lot of leeway there. Really, the thing to do is as long as you've gone through a couple of different stations and it's been clean during that, really that 12-month window before you go to register, you should be fine.
Right. And you can look it up online to see whether you did or you didn't.
I believe that's correct, yes.
Okay. By license plate or something.
And there's also, keep in mind, it's not all done with the vans anymore, as I explained last week. There's just little green boxes that they put on the side of the road now that do the testing.
Yeah. But you can look up online also and find out where they are.
You can. That is correct. Yes. They will tell you.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you.
You betcha, Arnie. Appreciate it. Very good question. 303-477-5600. Paul, you're up next. What's going on today?
Yeah, I've got a 2010 Honda Odyssey, and if I accelerate, when I get around 40 to 60 miles an hour, I get a lot of vibration out of the front, just out of the front tires, I guess. But the tires are in balance. I've checked all that, and I tried talking to the dealership, and they said, well, it's going to cost you $600 even look at the thing. But that
why is that?
It might have been because that's what they said. I don't know, but they said it could be the U-joints going out. Now it's only got about 60,000 miles on it, so I was really surprised by that.
Yeah, they're talking about the CV joints on the half shafts on the front drive. I doubt those are bad, but you could have. I mean, I don't want to say that they are or they aren't bad because without somebody looking at it, I'm a little nervous about them telling you it's $600 to check it. We've got Colorado Select facilities from Parker, on up to Fort Collins that could basically look at that for you and do it for a whole lot less than $600.
Okay. If it is the CV joints, how much do you think that would cost just to replace them?
I don't have that information right at the tip of my tongue or in front of me, but typically half shafts, you can buy a half shaft typically for around, an axle shaft. What I'm trying to say, you can typically buy an axle shaft for, I don't know, $300 or so.
Okay.
And, it's not a huge expense if in fact that's what it is. I doubt that's what's wrong with it though.
Okay.
Okay.
And where would I go to find the different select?
Drive-radio.com. Just look for our sponsors and they're all listed right there.
All right. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Appreciate the phone call. Let's get one more squeezed in before we go to break. Terry, you're up next.
Hey, John, how you doing?
Doing great, Terry. Thanks for calling us.
I had a little bone to pick.
Okay.
Some of your tire man was on there talking about tires.
Yes.
And he says maybe you wouldn't get the life out of the tire that you'd have to replace the tire before because it's so old,
Yeah, I'm not following you. So what Kim is saying is age has a factor on tires, so be careful when they start to get up in age, even though they have tread.
Right. But my theory was I want the best tires in my car,
Yeah,
no
but
what.
I think what Ken's saying is if you're somebody that doesn't drive a lot, I'm not sure that, if you're putting 3,000-4,000 miles a year on, for example, or even, 7 or 8, do you want to, it's your call, but most people aren't going to spend top dollar and not get that value out of the tire.
Yeah.
Well,
I understand that some people might drive a little different.
No, and Terry, tell you what, this is a great question. I want to finish up on this. I'm going to put you on hold and carry on over through the break because we're running up against the news break. So I tell you what, hang with us. And this is a great question because I think this applies, Ken, to a lot more people than what just Terry is saying. And it's a great point. So Terry, hang with us. We'll get you just as soon as we come back from the break. We got one line open. 303-477-5600. John Rush, Ken Bauer from Quick Tread. We're going to be right back here on Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Cause when you're still so near, I can't lose my mind. It's not the perfume that you wear.
Still haven't had enough? Go to drive-radio.com. Email your questions and comments. Download previous programs and find lots of useful information, including your nearest Colorado Select Auto Care Center. That's drive-radio.com. Thanks for listening to Drive Radio, sponsored by the member shops of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers on KLZ 560.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for their highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business. So Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For the complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
Hi, this is Scott Watley. Join me every Saturday from 1 to 2 p.m. for Sportsmen of Colorado. We offer a variety of hunting and fishing experts, outfitters, guns and ammo, and archery specialists. We'll also keep you informed of techniques, products, gear, and conservation news. That's Sportsmen of Colorado, Saturdays, 1 to 2 p.m., right here on KLZ 560.
KLZ AM 560, KLZ HD Denver. Listen live at KLZ560radio.com. KLZ 560, a Crawford Broadcasting God and Country station.
This is the Blaze Radio News. I'm Brad James. 6 Bosnian natives living in the U.S. have been sending money and military equipment to Al-Qaeda and ISIS in Iraq and Syria, using PayPal to send money and the U.S. Postal Service to send U.S. military uniforms, combat boots, and other tactical gear, all going to Turkey, then smuggled to the terrorists in Syria and Iraq. All 6 being charged with conspiring to provide material support and resources to terrorists. 5 have been arrested, one of them leaving the U.S. in 2013 and may have been killed fighting in Syria. Add Vice President Joe Biden's name to the list of those who won't attend Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's address to Congress next month. Biden's office saying he'll be traveling out of the country. The vice president serves as president of the Senate and usually attends when a foreign leader speaks to a joint session of Congress. The president already saying he won't meet with Netanyahu when he's in Washington. Democrats upset Republican House Speaker John Boehner invited Netanyahu without consulting the White House. This is news on the Blaze Radio Network.
Everyone is making the switch to the Blaze to make it their source for the truth. Why not make it your source for the truth? Make theblaze.com your homepage for news that the other outlets won't even touch. Subscribe to The Blaze TV at theblaze.com/TV or on Dish Network and get access to original programming like For the Record, the show that exposes what's really going on that the government doesn't want you to know. And Real News, the daily conversation on the topics of the day that matter most. Check out the Blaze Radio Network at theblaze.com/radio with original shows like Buck Sexton, The Morning Blaze with Doc Thompson, Pat and Stu, and Jay Severin. Or if you need something to hold in your hands, subscribe to the Blaze magazine. So basically, anywhere you need to go, you can take the truth with you by taking the Blaze with you. This is the Blaze. Truth lives here. So just to recap, anywhere you need to go, you can take the truth with you by taking the Blaze with you. Find out all the ways at theblaze.com.
You've been listening to the Blaze Radio News on KLZ 560.
Freedom 560 with Ken Clark, now at a new time, 1 to 3 p.m. on KLZ 560.
It's a mighty fancy automobile. Oh, she's a real road king, all right. 0 to 60 in 7.5. She'll do a quarter of a mile, 13.40. 390 horsepower, 500 foot-pounds of torque. Whatever that is. Performance and image, that's what it's all about.
There's no such thing as a stupid question. This is Drive Radio. All of your automotive questions are just one phone call away. 303-477-5600. Drive Radio is made possible by the member shops of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. To find one near you, go to drive-radio.com. Now, Drive Radio on KLZ 560.
All right, John Rush, your host, Drive Radio, KLZ 560. I have a special guest in with me that we've been listening to now for the first hour. Ken Bauer from Quick Tread. Their number there is 720-588-9055. Those of you that are listening on Sunday, you cannot call in. I apologize. I know a lot of you do, and you try to call in because the folks running around here on Sundays talk about it, but you can't call in. You can send an email question if you'd like, and you can do that on Saturday or anytime you want. It's john@drive-radio.com, or just go to our website, drive-radio.com. Go there, click on the Contact Us. We'll get an email. I'll answer it for you. We've got guys that'll help me answer it if I can't, and away we go. We had a phone call that we kept over from the first hour. Terry and Kevin, you had called in, and somehow we got goofed up on the phones. Call us back. We'll get you right on air, 303-477-5600. I promise we'll get you up just as soon as I'm done with Terry. So, Kevin, you were listening. Call us. You were on the phone. We'll get you right back on air. Call us right now, and we'll get you going, 303-477-5600. Terry, thanks for waiting over the news. We appreciate it very much. Let's continue on and kind of recap. So, Kevin's, Terry, your point was recap it for the folks that are just now starting to tune in maybe for this new hour.
My daddy told me that the tires are the only part of your vehicle that touch the ground, and you want good tires.
Good point.
You're a smart man.
And so why would you buy any cheaper tire? Get the best. I mean, safety thing.
It is. Now keep in mind, and this is something I want everybody out there listening to understand. If a car or if a tire, and Ken, you can talk to this also, but if a tire in today's world is meeting DOT specs, it's still a safe tire. Okay, I mean, it may not be as long of a lasting or as good of a tire. Now, one thing this is one thing that has changed from, say, 40 and especially even 50 plus years ago, Terry. Right. So in today's world, if a car, if a tire rather has a DOT specification, it's met all those guidelines, it's still a safe tire.
I'm not talking about safety, but you're talking about traction. You're talking about fuel economy.
Yep, I understand that.
Anything on a tire.
So Terry, let me clarify kind of what I meant by what I said. So,
okay,
essentially, there are tire manufacturers right now who are pushing the limits on tread life, and they're coming out with Hankook has a 100,000-mile tire. So, with a 100,000-mile tire, there's a few trade-offs. There's going to be a trade-off.
There's going to be a trade-off on hard rubber. I'll guarantee you that.
Absolutely. I was going to say harder rubber. There's a trade-off in the way the tread is designed. It's not going to wear as fast. Obviously, you're going to give up a little traction in exchange for a longer-lasting tire. But here's my point: is if you have a grocery getter, let's say, and you drive 5,000 miles a year,
okay,
and you call us up and say, well, I saw Hankook has a 100,000-mile tire. Well, we can take that 100,000-mile tire for, let's just arbitrarily say it's $150 each. And we'll put it up next to a Hankook 60,000-mile tire that's $100 a piece.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not going to drive the life of the tire within a reasonable amount of time, I don't want you spending the extra money that you don't need to spend.
Because the other Hankook tire is still a good tire.
So we're not even saying let's trade off quality for price. What we're saying is let's not buy more than we need. Just like, I'm trying to think of a good analogy. Yeah. I mean, I don't need to buy the $400 pair of Air Jordans because I'm not Air Jordan. Okay. I'm just fine playing Y basketball in a $100 pair of shoes than I would be in a $300 or $400 pair of shoes.
Yeah. Which is different than you going out and buying a $20 pair of tennis shoes to do what you're doing. That middle of the road tennis shoe for the average person would work just fine. Now, I think golf would be another explanation that I could actually use, Terry. So let's say you're the average avid golfer. Okay, you could go out and buy a really good set of, Nike, let's just use them for an example, a really good, set of Nike golf clubs, or pro
That's not
staff.
going to help me, is it, John?
No, probably not me either. But and on the same token, neither is me or you buying the most expensive set of clubs we can actually buy. Now, I will say this though: you and I using a good set of clubs versus the old wood shaft clubs. Yeah, I'm probably going to be a better golfer than I would have been with the wood shaft clubs.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's a big maybe on my end.
I've not seen this way golf club, John. So I don't. You might be pulling my leg. Oh, I had a question. Tire question.
Yeah, go ahead.
265, 75, R16.
Got it.
I run on my Hummer. I've had really good luck with the Michelin. AT, the one that has
yes.
It has the
LTX
on the side of the tire.
Yep.
I had that on my 4Runner, but I was looking at this Goodyear Wrangler Duratec, and that looks like a pretty amazing tire to me.
The Duratrack, they're both amazing tires. Let's just be flat out there. The LTX is a great tire. The Duratrack is a phenomenal tire. It's a much more aggressive tire. It's not going to last as long as an LTX. It's just not because of the way it's designed.
Is it a 40,000 mile tire? Or?
Not on your vehicle.
What did you say he's driving?
Hummer.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Yeah, not on your tire. No, not on your car.
Okay.
If you're going to take that Hummer off-road, a Duratrack, a BF Goodrich All-Terrain, those are, in my opinion,
or even the Toyo, open countries would be great also.
Those are, in my opinion, some of the finest off-road tires out there. If you're not going to take it off-road, unless you just want the Duratrack because they look awesome, because they do.
They do, yeah.
And people,
I'd stay with the Michelin though, if it were me.
Oh, the Michelin. If you're driving that car on the road, and you're willing to spend the money for a Michelin, it's a phenomenal tire. I think you can do just as well for less money though than the Michelin LTX. For the record.
So, what would you recommend?
Well, the Toyo brand, for example, we just mentioned. You could save money buying that tire and have a good tire.
Yeah.
Open Country or
the Open Country AT is a awesome looking tire. Like on a Hummer, it would just look tough, which is part of the reason I love it.
They got a nice sidewall look to them.
Great sidewall, very aggressive. The BF Goodrich All Terrain is another awesome tire, and if you rotate those, they last a long, long time. But only if you rotate them.
The advantage the Toyos have, in my opinion, is they balance out better.
Yeah,
it's a smoother tire.
Yeah. The Duratrack, it's just you're going to be really upset at me if I put a set of Duratracks on there and you drove around Denver for 2 years.
They're wore out.
Yeah, and they would be worn
I'd be
out.
mad.
Yep. Does that help, Terry?
Yeah, it does.
All right.
Do we talk about supercars yet?
Yeah, no, go right ahead. Tell us what your favorite muscle car is.
Oh, well, you can't miss the 64 GTO.
Okay. All
and
right.
you can, and I had a friend that had a 69 Judge.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, that 69 Judge, that's very much like the car that, I bought back, the 68, my 68 Grand Sport, which is in that same, that same line as a Chevelle or a Judge or what have you. Yeah, those cars, the 68 and 69s, are pretty fast cars, comparatively speaking, and you didn't have to spend the money you did on the 70s.
Yeah.
Yep. Good point.
And, of course, you can't miss another GTO.
Nope.
The Holden.
Yep.
The Australian one.
Yep, that's right.
Four doors with a Corvette motor.
That's right. No, they were good cars too.
Yep.
Terry, appreciate the phone call very much. Let's jump over to Kevin before our break, and we got a line open, 303-477-5600. Kevin, welcome. What's going on today?
Hi, I was following up on a previous caller's question about classic cars and white walls.
Sure.
And I was doing some research for different sizes. As you know, as everybody knows, they're kind of cutting back on the availability of choices of sizes with white walls. And I was looking for a 225, 75, 15, and I found that it was made by a company called Multi-Mile. They still make one. And I think it's a G-Max tire.
Yeah, Chinese-made tire.
It's Chinese?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. But it's marketed by Multi-Mile, which sounds like a U.S.
It's not
company.
It's not.
There's nothing. I mean,
nothing wrong with them.
Yeah, they're fine tires. They are on the very, very, very low end of the price scale. But they're not. They're a DOT certified tire. They're safe.
Goes back to the conversation we just had.
They will not last you very long. That's the one thing and we sell them. I mean, we're certainly happy to. we just set the expectation in advance that if you're expecting to get 50,000 miles out of this tire, this is not your tire. And what was the size again? What was the size?
225, 75, 15.
Let me just look something. And where did you find them?
Online.
And what can I ask what the price per tire was?
Well, I think I called up a place in town and here in Colorado Springs, and they were kind of pricey. I thought they were in the $90 range at this. I'm not going to mention the chain, but
that's fine.
It was a major chain.
I mean, I can do Hankook's big name brand. I can do Hercules. I can do Cooper's for less money than that. And all three of those tires
are better tire.
Far better tire.
Yeah, I have used Cooper's before. They just don't make that particular 225 in a white wall, I don't believe.
Right.
I forgot about the white wall. I didn't think about that part. If you want to give Larry your number, I can see what we can do. We do come down and service the springs.
Oh, okay.
Okay, tell you what, we'll put you on hold and we'll get your name and number off air, Kevin, and that way Ken can just call you off air that way. So we'll put you on hold and Larry can do that in just a minute. Matt, remind Larry to catch Kevin and get his name and number for Ken, and we'll do that here in just a minute. Okay, in the meantime, Matt, let's just take a quick break. We're up against that clock anyways. 303-477-5600 is our number. We'll come back and talk to Dave, who's got a comment, and we'll be back right after this. Don't go away. John Rush, Ken Bauer, Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle. Regardless of make or model, you want your vehicle to take you where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what Colorado Select Auto Care Centers offer. They've set the standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each Colorado Select member currently offers Napa's Peace of Mind warranty, but are now also offering an extended 2-year or 24,000-mile warranty on repair work. You won't find this offer anywhere else. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-6272.
At Napa Auto Parts, we've been the most trusted name in auto parts for over 80 years. Probably because we've never stopped looking for ways to make the great parts we sell even better. It's a commitment to quality you'll find in every one of our 310,000 parts. From the bacteria-killing surface on our cabin air filters, to the patented damping mechanism on our drive-align belt tensioners, to our revolutionary new Adaptive One brakes. And Napa parts are covered by a warranty that's good at any of our 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores nationwide. Yeah, maybe you don't get this at your average auto parts store, but at Napa, we've spent the last 80 years making sure we were anything but average. To find the Napa Auto Parts store nearest you, go to NapaOnline.com. Napa, get the good stuff.
With over 125 locations in Colorado, southern Wyoming, and western Nebraska, there's only one place to get the good stuff: Napa Auto Parts.
After 30 years of business, Gino's Auto Service is expanding. Hi, this is Jennifer, and my dad owns Gino's Auto Service in Littleton. What does our expansion mean for you? Savings on all our repair and maintenance services. We work on all makes and models, and your satisfaction is always guaranteed. At Gino's, we use genuine Napa parts and are AAA approved. Stop by and see the transformation at Bowles and Platte Canyon, or visit us online at genosautoservice.com. That's genosautoservice.com.
Your car performs better when things are simple, and it's easy to see how the maze of plumbing under the hood can slow it down. A K&N AirTake system replaces the maze with a single custom engineered tube. The result? A guaranteed increase in horsepower, a dramatic increase you can actually feel. Visit K&N website to look up the extra horsepower available for your vehicle. K&N, an American manufacturer since 1969.
John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560, along with Ken Bauer, and thank you all so much for calling in. We really are doing our best to get your tire questions answered. We've got Ken Bauer from Quick Tread on with us, and one of our great sponsors. A couple of other sponsors I want to mention real quick. Isaac Bouchard, our broker. If you're looking for a new car, used car, what to do with your car, how soon should you buy a car, Isaac's our guy. Straight shooter, just like Ken sitting here is. I wouldn't have these guys in our show if I didn't like them and or couldn't attest to the quality that they will deliver to you. 303-475-1462. That's Isaac's number, and he'll help you with anything you want when it comes to buying, selling, leasing, just even if it's something that, hey, I'm thinking about doing such and such with the car, or what should I buy? He's your guy. We're going to try to get him on air here in the next couple of weeks to do a show on that, just like we're doing today with Ken, because lots of questions come in on that. Once you get the car bought and you got good tires on it, Paul Leuenberger from American National Insurance, 303-619-9891. Paul is your insurance guy. Home, auto, life, you name it, especially old classic cars. That car that I just bought back, my 68 Grand Sport. Paul's the guy that's going to be insuring that, or already is, I should say, American National Insurance. And you know what? They'll insure the car for the value that we get it appraised for. No questions asked. It's a great setup, and it's inexpensive. So he's got a great program. Yeah, but he'll do anything you've got. New cars, old cars, home. It doesn't make any difference. Paul Leuenberger, 303-619-9891. Then, of course, as always, we've got Napa, K&N, and Colorado Select are three major sponsors of Drive Radio. Make sure you pay those guys a visit and tell them that Drive Radio sent you anytime you go in. All right, let's go to Dave, who's up next. Dave, welcome to Drive Radio.
Hey, John, how you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for calling, Dave.
You bet. Hey, Ken, I got a question for both you guys. When storing your vehicle, does it help to raise the vehicle off the ground so the tires just kind of hang there?
If you can, yes.
And if you cover them up, if it's outside, do you need to cover them up to protect them from the UV?
Yes,
definitely should.
Yes, even trash bags. If you got to go as cheap as that, bungee corded trash bags. Anything along those lines to help get the UV ray off of the tire helps immensely. Especially guys that are driving, big trucks or trailers that they're parking a good time, good portion of the year. Motorhomes, those sorts of things. Yes, definitely cover those tires up.
Okay, good, because my daughter's on deployment and I told her to do that.
Yes.
And if just for anybody listening, not just to answer your question, but if lifting the car isn't feasible and it's a car you just don't drive very often, the next best thing is just to, every couple weeks, just get out there and drive it a couple hundred yards, just park it so that a different spot of the wheel is now on the bottom, and that'll at least help.
Right, so you don't get any flat spots.
Yeah, because you will get them. There's no doubt.
And it helps circulate oil in the engine and the transmission and differentials and all that anyway. So it's a good thing to do. Day like today where it's, I got one of mine out today and drove it down here. It's, it's almost 70 degrees today. It's a great day to do that. Roll the thing back in the garage, put a little gas in it, and off you go.
Can I get one more?
Yes, go ahead.
About tire rotation. Is there a certain schedule for a particular vehicle? Say I had my Jeep. Is there
Jeeps are harder on tires, so I would recommend rotating those every 3,000 to 5,000 miles, which is going to be a little more than you would probably the regular typical car, but they're hard on tires.
Right. Okay, I do it every 3,000. Okay,
that's perfect.
3,000. You definitely don't need to go less than that.
Okay, cool. And as far as muscle cars, I had a '69 Chevelle.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Great car.
Really?
Yeah, I had a 350 in it, and then I dropped in a 396.
Oh boy,
great car.
Yeah, I took the Power Glide out and put a Turbo 400 in it.
Yep.
Had a buddy of mine that was in tech school do a bunch of the work on the tranny and the engine. So
very cool.
Yeah, and then do
you know where the car is at? I assume you sold it.
I sold it to a friend of mine years ago because I was raising a family, and I found out that he loaned it to his brother, and he put a radio in it, and it burned it.
Oh no!
Burned it down. Yeah.
Oh no!
Caught it on fire somehow. Don't know what happened. It's like.
Well, I'll just real quick, if you got a couple of minutes here, I'll share the rest of the story of my car. So I sold my car back in '94. So I drove it all through high school, kept it, quite a long time after that. Sold it in '94, needed money for a house, was raising a family, all the things that you just said. Sold it to a friend of mine. Luckily, don't have the same story you have, Dave, because he actually took the car, painted it, and had it done really, really nice. So it's really done. The paint on the car is immaculate. I sold the car with. I bought it originally from my great aunt with 26,000 miles. I sold it with 49,000, and the car today has 51,000.
Wow, that was a Buick GS, right?
Buick GS 400.
Wow, that's a cool car.
So the guy I sold it to actually did really, really good job of keeping the car, clean and neat, and I was very, very fortunate in being able to find that car and buy it back.
Now they had a stage 1 and a stage 2, right?
Not in '68. They did in '69.
Okay.
'68. My GS 400 was the most powerful, GS you could buy at the time. And then when we went to '69, you go stage 1, stage 2.
Oh, okay. I had a buddy that had a '67. That was really nice. '67 Chevelle.
Yep.
And he had it done. I thought it was just perfect. It was just, not really show quality, but for me as a kid in high school, it was just perfect, right?
Right.
And he parked it out. Oh, he lived on a roundabout. And parents' driveway was on a hill, and his sister parked on the hill, and she backed down and she backed into his car.
Oh no!
Just caved in the passenger side. And she goes, "You shouldn't have parked it there. You shouldn't have parked it there."
Of course, it's his fault.
Yeah, what? It's like, dude, you're gonna pay for the damages. She goes, "You shouldn't have parked it there."
Oh boy.
Oh God.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Good call, Dave.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate talking to you very much. Thanks for your listening. And I know Dave even listens during the week, so I appreciate that very much also. 303-477-5600. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air. Questions on tires? What's your favorite muscle car? Any other general question you've got? I don't care. We'll answer it. 303-477-5600. Jeff, you're up next.
Morning, gents.
Good morning, sir.
Actually, yeah, it is still morning. I'm doing some long overdue battery maintenance on my wife's 2005 PT Cruiser.
Okay.
In order to do that, you have to take out the air box for the air filter.
Correct.
And when I did that, I noticed that there was oil in the bottom of it. It's not fresh. It's accumulated over a long period of time.
Sure.
On one side of the box is the air intake. On the other side looks like a connection to the PCV valve.
Yep.
And so it doesn't look like it's coming from anywhere but maybe the PCV.
It is. That's just a blow by coming out of the engine back into it.
Okay, so there's nothing that I need to worry about?
Just wipe all that out real good, clean it up. And then the other thing that's important, and this is something for folks to remember anytime you're working on the air cleaner, this is my suggestion. If you got a shop vac kicking around, make sure you vacuum out everything that, it could have any debris that gets down inside of it. You want to make sure all that stuff's good and clean out. And if while you're at it, if you've got time, get some throttle body cleaner, clean the throttle body up if you want to, and then put everything back together.
Okay. All right, it has a turbo, and high output turbo. She needed leather seats, and it was the only way to get it.
Got it. Well, and part of the reason why you've got a little more blow by is because of the turbo.
Okay.
Which is okay.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that.
Well, it just makes for a little longer Saturday, but you know what? Yep. It's a beautiful day.
It is. It is. I got to go and clean up the garage and do a few things after the show, so I'm glad it's warm out today.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Well, thanks a lot.
You're very welcome, Jeff. Appreciate the phone call. All right, guys, 303-477-5600 is our number. Call us. We'll get you right on air. We've got a couple lines open right now as we speak. Larry's queuing up a call right now. So I had a couple other questions for Ken when it came to tires. And one of these I didn't quite get answered earlier. And we've been talking about some of this stuff through the show. So some of these I'm going to skip over. But, Ken, what makes one tire better than the next? I mean, everybody, the average novice person looks at it's round and I'm paying X price. So what's the difference in, a $150 tire versus a $300 tire?
So I'm going to answer this as honestly as I can here. I'm going to use your golf analogy, which was, does the average golfer need Tiger Woods golf clubs, et cetera? I think the best tire is the best tire for you. I really do. I think that the best tire you can get for some people might be the most expensive $250, $300 tire. And for some people, many people, it's going to be $130, $140 tire. I really don't think that I can answer by saying this is the single best tire, because really it may be the single best tire for a small group of people.
And I think that's a great answer. And one of the things that I think people need to be careful of, just like, the sports analogy and golf clubs. And I think that was a good example, because there's a wide array of golf clubs on the market that you can buy. And in most cases, it doesn't really help the golfer be any better from one set of clubs to the next, because if you're a bad golfer like me, you're a bad golfer. What I will say is be careful with taking what somebody tells you is a recommendation for a tire to heart, because, buying tires is like buying cars or buying clothing. Everybody's, expectations and demands out of that tire are going to be a little different. And somebody, may just love a tire to death. Doesn't matter how much it costs. That's a tire they're going to use, and they're going to tell everybody they know to buy the same tire. That doesn't mean it's the right tire for you.
Exactly. And I think other good shops do this too. I really, I'm not suggesting that we're the only ones that do this. Any good shop should do this. Is we want to understand who's driving in the car. How do they drive? Is it a mom with 5 kids in the back in a minivan who really her focus needs to be on the road, and we want a tire that's as safe and as grippy as possible on the road? I mean, that could be one situation. It could be, a 22-year-old who has a penchant for speeding, and maybe we want to slow the guy down a little bit by not giving him the F1s. I think that, like I said, the best tire is the best tire for you.
That's a great point. All right, let's take one call before we go to the next break. Fred, you're up next. What's going on, Fred?
I've got a 2003 Buick with about 38,000 miles on it, Buick LeSabre.
Okay.
And I recently bought tires for it, General Ultimax RT43.
Great tire.
And yeah, you know, I looked at reviews on it. It's hard to believe all reviews, but anyway, so that's what I bought. I travel right now. I've put about 6,000 miles on them. I travel probably 75-80% highway, and they seem to squirm, especially on, well, not especially, but pretty much on concrete grooved highway. Doing 70.
That's, you know what, and here's what I will tell you, Fred. This is, and I should talk about this because this is a great segue. Actually, tell you what, we're up against the break. Fred, you just asked a great question that I want to answer because, especially with a lot of the construction stuff we've got going on in Colorado right now, that's a big deal. Hang tight. I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to put you on hold. We'll come back to Fred. I want to answer that question because different tires do handle differently on the type of application roads that Fred just mentioned. I want to talk about that. Let's come right back to that. So, John Rush, Ken Bauer, Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
At Arvada West Auto, we know that fluids are the life of your vehicle. They are also complicated, with all the different types, from motor oil to gear oils to coolant. The types of fluids, service procedures, and intervals can vary widely. Let us help you sort out what your vehicle needs and when it needs to be serviced. Stop in or call us at Arvada West Auto, 11752 West 64th Avenue, 303-422-1065. You can visit us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com.
Colorado Select Auto Care in North Denver that also specializes in automatic and manual transmissions. We're a family-owned small business taking care of your family-owned fleet of cars, trucks, and SUVs since 1994. We specialize in transmission and drivetrain problems and offer a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty. We're also an ATRA member. Call us at 303-427-2108 for an appointment or find us on the web at coloradoselect.com. Larry's Automotive, a proud member of Colorado Select Auto Care.
We've all been there. You're under the hood and suddenly realize you don't have the parts you need. Or even worse, you don't know what parts you need. Well, at Napa Auto Parts, we have ASE certified parts specialists that'll make sure you find that right part. One covered by a warranty good at any one of 6,000 Napa locations. Yeah, finding the right part might not be easy, but fortunately, finding the right parts store is. Go to NapaOnline.com for the location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff.
A 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on every auto repair says so much more than, if it's not right, we'll try to fix it again. A 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty tells me that this is a master mechanic who's confident, who knows what they're doing. I mean, nobody offers a warranty like that, right? Colorado Select Auto Care Centers do, and only the members of Colorado Select offer a warranty this good. Find a mechanic who's a member of Colorado Select Auto Care at coloradoselect.org.
All right, we're back. John Rush, Drive Radio. Ken Bauer from Quick Tread, KLZ 560. And we had Fred on earlier. So, Fred, I wanted to spend a little time on this because this is a great question. I drive a lot of new cars, as you guys know. And, you know, what I will tell you is there is a difference in the way that the tire, not the tire itself, but the tread pattern on the tire has a lot to do with whether it follows those grooves on the concrete roads, especially. What I've noticed just from all the driving I've done, the smoother and the wider the tire is, the more of a highway tread that it's got on it. Believe it or not, they actually track worse on those particular roads than the tires that actually have a little bit more of an aggressive tread.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I don't know that. I'm not familiar with that tire. Ken is, but
season.
So is it got a pretty aggressive tread, or is it pretty smooth?
It's just your basic all-season touring tire.
Well, there's if it's an all-season type touring tire, that's why it's following the grooves on those concrete roads.
Okay, what it also does is over any road damage, either at highway speed or my wife even noticed it because she doesn't drive it much. Drove it the other day. And on just your regular highway roads, it also seems to kind of hop or jump to one side when you go over any kind of road damage.
How are your shocks on your car?
Well, I don't know. They seem to be fine. Again, this car is kind of old and doesn't have that many miles on it.
Well, and to Ken's point, if it doesn't have proper shocks, proper suspension, then what you're describing is I would have said the same thing Ken just said. First thing I would check is the stability of the shocks and make sure they're in good shape.
Okay.
Next, I would check the PSI in your tire. If it's overinflated, it's going to be a little bouncier. But
right.
There's
I understand that. It's I've got it at the Buick recommended.
Perfect.
33.
Okay. You should be fine then.
But this tire is a narrower tire than the other tire that they made, the General Ultimax RT, which I actually have a couple of those on an older Buick I have.
That was a good tire, actually.
Pardon?
That was a pretty good tire, actually.
Well, I liked it on that. That's when I went to buy them and I found out now it's a RT43, and it does look narrower. The actual tread looks narrower.
Okay.
And I've never felt that it's unstable under these conditions, but it's at first it's kind of unsettling. It's like, why is it doing this?
Yeah, it's following the grooves in the road, and I would have, especially with the age of the vehicle. You're 12, 13 years old now on that car. I would have somebody check shocks and suspension and just make sure everything's up to speed.
Right. Okay. And like on the older Buick, like I say, I have the RTs. Is there any way to find any of those tires? I've tried to look for them. Primarily like Craigslist, anybody selling?
No, and if you find some old stuff, I'm kind of with Ken on that. I would prefer you go out and buy new tires as opposed to trying to find some old stuff that you really don't know how long they've been sitting around. Now, if you do find them, there is a date stamp on the side of every tire now.
Right, I know that. Yeah,
and you can look up the week and the year that the tire was actually made. And if it's within, 4 or 5 years old, yeah, you could go ahead and buy that tire. But if it's getting older than that, I'd shy away from it.
Unless it was stored, and
properly,
then it's okay. But I don't want you to shy away from the RT43. It's an excellent tire. I really don't think that the problems you're experiencing are due to that tire, and it's an improvement over the RT.
Okay, well, that's everything that I read about it. You know? And for the most part, like I say, it seems to drive fine. Its wet traction seems to be very good. So and I don't know about the longevity, but it's supposed to be, a higher mile tire, which actually, after hearing your dissertation there about, buying the tire you actually need, I don't really put that many miles on it. That's like why I was looking for some used tires for the older Buick, because it gets a lot less mileage put on it.
Well, yeah, I think it's a good tire, and feel free to give us a call. We do have some used ones also, and we very well might have something that works for your other Buick.
Give me your number real quick.
720 588 9055. 720 588 9055.
All right, Fred, appreciate the phone call. All right, let's move right along. We'll go to Jay, who's up next. Jay, what's going on?
Hey guys, enjoy the show.
Thank you.
I'll mention my favorite car when I was a kid, but first I have a question for you regarding American cars.
Sure.
I have an 02 and an 04 Buick LeSabre. One's a limited and the other one's a custom.
Okay.
And they are honestly the two biggest pieces of junk I've ever owned. At 60,000 miles, they just started falling apart. Gas gauges quit working, dash lights burn out. And these are, it was like $1,000 to get the dash lights working. And transmission's one in 100,000. My question is, how much better, if at all, are American cars today than 10 or 12 years ago?
A bunch.
I'm going to turn them over, and I trying to figure out which direction to go.
A bunch. There is really no comparison, and especially with GM, those the years that you're just mentioning were not some of GM's best years. We know that now from bankruptcy that they went through and so on. They were struggling and had just a lot of different chiefs and too many chiefs, not enough Indians, not enough stuff getting done, not enough R&D going on, and those were years that they struggled. Are they better today? Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, they're
okay.
And here's the deal: if they weren't, you can't stay in business today. That's the reality of it. It doesn't matter whether we're talking, GM and American cars, GM, Chrysler, Ford. Of course, Chrysler's now Italian with Fiat, but it really doesn't matter whether you're talking Porsche all the way to Kia. Really every car today really is a great car. Kind of goes back to the tire comment Ken made a minute ago. What's the best car for you? Whatever the best car for you is.
Yeah. Gotcha.
I mean, it really comes down to what do you need? Are you using the car to meet the needs that you have, not underusing or overusing a car, all those different things. But I'm not exaggerating. You could go buy a Kia today, which 5-6 years ago I would not have advised you to do. But today you can buy a Kia mainstream car, Hyundai, same thing. Either one of those cars will work fantastic. Same with the American cars, same with the Japanese cars.
Oh, you just answered my second question. It was directly involving the Hyundais and the Kias. And I had heard, I got a client of mine, the service manager at a Kia dealership, and he said, I'll put this car up against this brand up against a Japanese car any day of the week.
And I would tend to agree with him. I think he's exactly right. Again, I wouldn't have said that 5 years ago, but I'll tell you that today.
Hyundai too.
Yep. Well, Hyundai Kia is the same company, so.
When I was a kid, I had 1965 Chevelle Malibu with a 327, and you'll have to help me here. Back in the day, 350 horse, I believe it was. That sound right?
I believe that's correct.
And I'll tell you what, we dropped some 513 gears in that thing, and there wasn't a car in town that could beat me between stoplights, and I had the tickets to prove it.
That's a good car. No, those were fun. Those were fun days.
They were.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks a million.
You bet. Good stories. Appreciate it very much. All right, let's go to Carrie. You've been holding the longest up in Greeley. What's going on, Carrie?
Well, Carrie, John, I wanted to let you know about a product called Tire Socks.
Yep.
Have you heard of them?
I have.
Okay, and over in McGuckins over there, they've actually got one of them in the store there. It's a used one, but they also make this for the big trucks, the semi trucks. I don't know if you knew that or not.
You know what? I had somebody that called several weeks ago on them. I can't remember if they either called me or emailed me. I don't remember what. I think it was a listener that actually called in one day and told us about them. That's kind of where I started researching them. Yeah, I think they make them for most everything on the road today, don't they?
Yes, I think they're out of Europe is where they're out of, but there is a YouTube video of them using them up on the Eisenhower Tunnel.
Interesting.
The state trooper, they was having trouble getting around up there.
Right.
They stuck them on there because, they're less than 5 minutes to put them on because they slip on like a cover over a tire on the back of a van.
Right.
And they're made out of fabric. And so you can just slip them on and then just move the vehicle just a short distance and pull the rest of it on there. They're self-centering. And they also did it on a straight truck up there with duals on the back of it. It was having trouble getting around. And, I'll tell you, it made a world of difference.
Yeah, they do. In fact, I think it's something that we ought to get Ken to look at possibly carrying and selling out to some of our Drive Radio listeners because the research I've done looks like a pretty good product, and it sure would be a nice thing to just have in the trunk of your car in case you ever needed one.
You're talking about the traction.
Yeah. And if anything, for a woman to put it on, it'd be real easy compared to if she had to put chains on.
Yep. It'll be it's way easy to put on compared to other things that are on the market. It's way easy.
Yes. Get a chance to take a look at that YouTube video.
I will do that. I will definitely do that. I appreciate the tip.
All right.
All right, Carrie. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it very much. So, we learn a lot of things from you guys as listeners. So I appreciate it very much. Continue to call us. Give us those tips. It helps all the other listeners that are out there. This is a community, and we learn from one another, and I appreciate that very much. Again, 303-477-5600 is our phone number. Al, you're up next.
Okay.
Go ahead, Al.
Yes. I have 3 vehicles. One is a 2005 Ford Taurus with Goodyear comfort treads.
Okay.
The other one is a 2009 Toyota Camry with Bridgestone Serenity Pluses. And the third vehicle is a newer vehicle. It's a 2014 Buick LaCrosse with Michelin Primacies.
Okay.
Now, all 3 of these vehicles, whenever I drive on a textured road, they make like a steady hum, a howl. That's you can definitely hear it. And now, if I go on a smooth road, get onto a smooth road, they'll go quiet. But I get back on a textured road and they'll start going noisy again. Do you have any idea of a tire that'll stay quiet on a textured road?
That's a great question. Boy, those are all 3 of those are great tires. We'll start by saying that, but.
And part of your noise, just to step in for just a second, part of your noise, Al, is coming from the fact that every car you're mentioning is a unibody car. Unibody cars typically have more cabin noise than a body-on-frame car has, or an SUV, something along those lines. Something I've noticed driving all these new cars that I've driven, in the last 5-6 years, is the unibody cars are just typically going to be, more noisy. Now, they've gotten better, and I would venture to guess, I don't know because I haven't driven a 14 LaCrosse yet, but I'm guessing your LaCrosse is probably a little quieter than the Taurus and the Camry.
As far, I would say not on a textured road. They're about the same. I would say that the noise is persistent on that textured road.
I don't know honestly that there would be any tire that on a textured road is going to make a difference. I really, here I am. I mean, I'm in the business of selling tires. I'd love to sell tires, but I don't think anyone could say honestly that this particular tire is going to be quieter than that particular tire on a textured road. And if they do, they're just trying to sell you some tires.
I think you're right on that. I mean, again, Al, I've driven a lot of vehicles over the past, 5 years. Go look at our website, look at our YouTube channel, and you'll see all the ones we've driven. And, in our roads, especially the ones where we've got more texture to them, or the road itself, the road surface isn't as good. I will tell you that the later model cars are getting better when it comes to that, but they're all pretty noisy when you're on that type of road, and unless you're on a body-on-frame car.
I see. Okay, so the unibody has something to do with it then.
Yes, I believe it does.
Well, the frame on a frame-on car, isn't the frame coated with a rubber deadening material?
Well, yeah, the difference between a frame-on car and a unibody is, think about it this way. So on a unibody car, you've got, front cradle and somewhat of a rear cradle that the suspension and that is attached to, that goes right into the body, and then the body itself is engulfed around you, the driver, the passengers, and so on. It's all one big assembly. On a body-on-frame car, you've taken basically that same body. It's not quite as rigid as a unibody car, but you've taken that body and you've isolated it from all of the suspension, engine, transmission components by putting big rubber isolators and then setting it on top of a frame. The frame is actually able to take and absorb a lot of the road noise and different things that are coming out of the road itself, and it all goes into the frame. It's isolated from the body. And that's partially why, that's not partially, that's why a body-on-frame car is always going to be quieter than a unibody car.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I selected these particular tires because they were supposed to be quiet tires. They were supposed to be,
Right.
But I guess maybe just that textured road you just can't get around.
No, it's tough. It's in our roads right now in Colorado, especially some of the concrete roads they're putting in. Boy, they are noisy. That's all I'm going to say. They are noisy.
Yeah, and those are quiet tires. So, yeah, it's a function of the road, not the tire.
All right, Al. Appreciate the call.
Thank you.
All right, with that, let's take a quick break. We'll come right back. We've got one line open is all. 303-477-5600. Vera and Tony will be right with you. Don't go away. We'll be right back. John Rush, Ken Bauer, Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
At Napa, we're always trying to make the great parts we sell even better. From the bacteria-killing surface on our cabin air filters to our revolutionary new Adaptive One brakes. And every Napa part is covered by a warranty good at any of our 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores. Yeah, maybe you don't get this at your average auto parts store, but we've spent the last 80 years making sure we were anything but average. Go to NapaOnline.com for a location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff.
Need a one-stop auto repair solution in Boulder? At John's 4x4 Center, they service and maintain more than just 4x4s. From big trucks to diesel pickups, their team of service specialists and technicians have the computer diagnostics, tools, and expertise to service and repair any make or model. They combine their skills with integrity, giving you the best service in the industry. From preventative maintenance to major repairs, you can trust your vehicle to John's 4x4. Located on Arapahoe Road, just east of 63rd, behind Carpet One. They're open Monday through Friday, 7:30 until 5:30, with convenient shuttle service and after-hours drop. If you're ready to form a solid relationship with an auto repair shop, the new owners at John's 4x4 Center are committed to providing the personal and professional service you're looking for. Give them a call at 303-449-2640. Check them out on the web or follow them on Facebook at johns4x4.com.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle. Regardless of make or model, you want your vehicle to take you where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers offer. They've set the standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each member offers Napa Auto Care Peace of Mind warranty, along with the highest level of customer service and integrity. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-NAPA.
All right, John Rush, Rush to Reason, KLZ 560. One line open is all, 303-477-5600. And we've got Ken Bauer with us from Quick Tread. And I tell you what, let's go. I think Tony, you've been holding the longest. We'll take you first. Tony, what's going on?
I've got a 92 Ford F-150 pickup, an older one, with about 180,000 on it.
Okay.
And I've got a miss between about 1,100 RPM and 1,800 or somewhere in there, a bad miss. And I've had it to 3 different shops, and we replaced just about everything, plugs, distributor fixed, and wires, fuel injectors, and nobody seems to be able to figure out what that is.
And has anybody done a compression test on the engine yet? I assume it's a 5.4 liter engine?
No, I think it's a 302, and yeah, that it seems to. I don't know that they've done a
5 liter
test for sure, but it runs great when it idles and after 2,000 RPM.
Yeah, and if it were me and it was in my shop, even in my fleet shop, the first thing I'd be doing at this point is a compression test.
Okay.
Find out whether or not you've got every cylinder up to speed, because here's what can happen. If, let's say, you've got one cylinder that's 80 pounds of compression, for example, that's enough to make it miss during that RPM you're talking about, but if you get up enough RPM, it'll go away.
Right, okay.
But at that RPM, it won't. And I'm not saying that, that you've got a bad cylinder, but boy, I think I would really be looking close at that to make sure you either, don't have one that's all carboned up, or, you got a valve problem on one. Now, if you got low compression on one cylinder, now you got to start diving a little further, do a leak down test and determine why is compression low on that cylinder. But I think if it were me, that's the next thing I'd be looking at.
Okay.
A lot of technicians today forget that the engine is still mechanical. We have all these electronic components, injectors, and, coil on plug, and all these other things that are out there, and electronic ignitions and so on. But a lot of technicians, especially the young guys, forget that, it still has to have air and fuel and compression, or the engine doesn't run properly. And a lot of technicians forget the compression part.
And do you think I'm just missing the miss at idle?
No. If you feel a miss, it's got a miss.
Okay, but I mean, it seems to idle fine.
You may not notice it as much at idle.
Okay,
have they had a scan tool on it to see if everything is actually firing like it's supposed to?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I took it to some of the shops that everybody said were the best, and
where are you? Where are you at? Colorado Springs, Tony?
Yeah, I live in Colorado Springs, but the pickup is in North Carolina right now, and that's where I had it checked out.
Got it. And I don't have anybody in North Carolina I can recommend you go to other than just a regular Napa Auto Care. I apologize. I just don't have any connections there. I would send you to somebody. But again, I think I'd have somebody do a compression test on it next and see what's going on.
Okay.
Report back to us. If you had any questions, email us, drive-radio.com.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
You bet. Appreciate it very much. Thanks for the phone call. Let's go to Vera, who's up next. Vera, welcome.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I just got 4 white sidewall tires a few months ago.
Okay.
Completely, the big white, and it's got raised letters on it that says Deluxe Champion Firestone.
Okay.
And it's 15-inch, and I got them from a fella in Inglewood.
Okay.
And he's over between Oxford and Hampton on the east side of Santa Fe.
Okay.
And I'll give you his phone number.
Okay.
303-788-0519.
All right, great. Thank you, Vera.
And they're beautiful. Oh, I just love them.
Okay, appreciate that. Thank you. Ken, I'm sure you can probably do the same thing, can't you?
Yep, we certainly do. We sell that tire.
Okay, so give me your number.
Our number is 720-588-9055, and we are a mobile tire shop, so we actually go right to the customer's car.
So you don't have to worry about driving to you. You drive to them.
Exactly.
Much better way of doing it. All right, let's go to Howard, who is next in Parker. Howard, welcome.
Thanks. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Hey, I've got a brand new 2015 Mustang GT that I will be installing some aftermarket coil springs to lower it just a little bit.
Okay.
And I'm hearing something from people that I know about bump steer, and that it's when you lower a vehicle, you can change the geometry of the vehicle and end up with this condition called bump steer. There's a kit that can be bought, they say, that will correct this. Is this something, if I'm looking to install these coil springs, that I should seriously look at adding as well?
I don't think I would worry about doing it until you actually put the coil springs on and see if you actually end up with any bump steer out of it. With rack and pinion steering, I would put the springs in first, see if you have bump steer, and if you do, then you'll have to figure out how to address it. But I wouldn't do anything at the same time until you actually get the springs in it.
Terrific. That's all I needed.
That's my thought, because again, you read a lot of stuff on the internet. I would put it in your car first and see what it does before I did anything else.
Awesome.
Okay.
Will do.
All right. Appreciate it, Howard. Thank you very much. Howard just triggered something else in my brain too that I wanted to mention for just a minute, because it really goes with tires especially. There are all sorts of forums on the internet for almost every make and model you can imagine. And there's even tire forums. And there's even tire reviews on the tire sites. Now, keep this in mind, folks, as you read all those reviews. We have in the world today, especially in the internet, actually it is in the internet, people called trolls. And they troll the internet looking to see where they can leave their negative garbage behind.
Or positive.
In some cases, positive. Most of the times it's negative.
Fake positive.
And sometimes fake positives, yeah. Just be careful with what you're reading is what I'm getting at. Not everything you read on the internet, especially when it comes to forums, are true. Now, some are really good, and you'll know the good ones from the bad ones. But be careful. There's a lot of people that will write reviews, and they'll troll around the internet, and they'll make comments, and they may not even own the vehicle or the tire that they're talking about, that they're actually leaving a comment or a review on. And I mean that sincerely. It's true, right?
Absolutely true. I see it every day. I see it.
So be careful with what you're reading on the internet. Don, you're up next.
Hey, hi, John.
Hey, Don. How's it going, man?
Yeah, good. Nice to talk with you, fellas.
Likewise.
Hey, I had a question for you, John. I pressed in a new pilot bearing in the flywheel of my Jeep.
Got it.
And it's a little undersized, a few thousandths undersized. Well, the input shaft won't go into it. What did you do when you pressed them in? What did you use to open them up?
Well, what'd you press it in with?
I just pressed it. I have a press. I had the flywheel off, so I just pressed it in with.
So you actually pressed it in with a press. I used to use an impact socket and a hammer to drive them in with, and I don't know whether it makes any difference pressing them or driving them. I assume you've also emery cloth the input shaft on the transmission on the Jeep just to make sure that it's all good and clean to begin with. Correct?
Yeah, it's a brand new input shaft, and it mics out at 0.627, and the pilot bearing is 625, so we got a couple of thousandths.
Yeah. So the next thing to do is just take some emery cloth and put it on the end of a drill that would go into it, or even if you've got you're not going to find a hone, that's small enough unless you get an old ball hone or something that's small enough to go in there. But you need to open that up just a little bit.
Okay. I have an adjustable reamer. You could
ream it too, and once you ream it, just make sure you emery cloth it to get it nice and smooth again.
I understand. How sloppy a fit do you want? How tight a fit do you want?
A couple thousandths.
Okay.
You don't have to have any more than that, but any less than that, it'll start to bind up. And eventually it'll wear it anyways, but you don't want it too tight or the clutch won't disengage.
Okay. When you were gone a few weeks ago, Dorsey was filling in for you, and he mentioned he has the factory tool that burnishes them in. Have you ever seen that?
I've never seen one.
Okay.
Not in my entire life.
He's going to be back from his trip next week. I might go visit him.
Supposed to be getting back tomorrow, so he'll be back to work, I believe, on Monday.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'll check that out.
Okay.
What about a fella called in, nice guy from Golden, said the good idea to put a piece of felt behind that pilot bearing, soak it in 30-weight non-detergent oil, and it helps keep it lubed up.
With the bronze bushings, you really don't need to do that anymore because
Okay.
the bronze actually has lubricant inside of it anyway. So if you put some wheel bearing grease on it and put it all in there, you'll be fine. I wouldn't worry about putting the felt in it.
Okay.
Not a big deal.
Well, I appreciate your thoughts, John. Thanks.
Yeah, I did a lot of those over the years, Don, as you know, and I never did any of that with the oil on the felt. In fact, all I ever felt like that did was make a bigger mess inside the bell housing, which I didn't want. So I just used to always use a little bit of wheel bearing grease, put it on the pilot, in the pilot bushing itself, and off you go.
And you never had any callbacks?
Never had one. Nope. And we had a lot of people doing a lot of things with Jeeps back then, and never had an issue.
Okay. Well,
All right.
That's why I'm calling you, John.
All right. Appreciate it, Don.
Thanks an awful
You bet.
lot.
Thanks for calling. All right, guys, we are out of time for hour number 2. We have one more hour left of Drive Radio. Tires. That's what we're talking about. So we got Ken Bauer with us from Quick Tread. He's our local tire sponsor. We'll come to you and do tires at your location. You don't need to drive anywhere. He'll just come to you and do them there. We'll talk more about that when we come back. If you've got questions for us, tires or anything else, what's your favorite muscle car? Still got to get Larry's, Matt's, and Ken's in, so we'll get those as soon as we come back. Don't go away. Keep listening. Stay tuned in. We're going to be right back right after the news. Blaze News is next. John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Still haven't had enough? Go to drive-radio.com. Email your questions and comments. Download previous programs and find lots of useful information, including your nearest Colorado Select Auto Care Center. That's drive-radio.com. Thanks for listening to Drive Radio, sponsored by the member shops of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers on KLZ 560.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for the highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business. So Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For the complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
Spring-like weekend in Colorado. Soak it in, lap it up, be nice to each other. But then get ready to light it up Monday on the KLZ Morning Show. This president compares burned pilots and crucified children in the modern world to medieval Christianity. I guess it's all part of Hillary Clinton's philosophy of empathy for our enemies. This presidential election is going to be epic. Democrats in Congress are heading us toward a Department of Homeland Security shutdown with their filibuster to protect Obama's executive amnesty. Congressman Ken Buck will be here to discuss that. And where is he on the new Congressional Republican Freedom Caucus? So much to do, so little time, but we come out swinging. 5 a.m. Monday, Wake Up with Randy Corcoran on KLZ 560.
Hi, this is Scott Watley. Join me weekdays from noon to 1 for Haystack Help Radio. We'll help with consumer problems, give you quality business referrals, let you know about the latest scams, and we'll also give great help for seniors. Weekdays, noon to 1 for Haystack Help Radio. Check out our website, haystackhelpradio.com.
Freedom, liberty, truth. KLZ AM 560, KLZ HD Denver. Listen live at KLZ560radio.com. KLZ 560.
This is the Blaze Radio News. I'm Brad James. 6 Bosnian natives living in the United States have been caught sending money and military equipment to Al-Qaeda and ISIS in Iraq and Syria, according to the Justice Department. The terrorist supporters sending money using PayPal, as well as U.S. military uniforms and supplies, including rifle scopes, firearms, accessories, clothing, and gear, all going to Turkey, eventually going to the terrorists in Syria and Iraq. The federal indictment saying the defendants knew exactly where the money and supplies were going. They also used telephones and Facebook to send and receive messages using fictitious names and code words. All 6 are charged with conspiring to provide material supports and resources to terrorists. 5 of the suspects have been arrested, one of them leaving the U.S. in 2013 and may have been killed fighting. Lawmakers saying this is just more proof that ISIS is a growing threat to the United States. Meanwhile, Jordan continuing airstrikes overnight on ISIS strongholds in Syria. This is news on the Blaze Radio Network.
Everyone is making the switch to the Blaze to make it their source for the truth. Why not make it your source for the truth? Make theblaze.com your homepage for news that the other outlets won't even touch. Subscribe to The Blaze TV at theblaze.com/TV or on Dish Network and get access to original programming like For the Record, the show that exposes what's really going on that the government doesn't want you to know. And Real News, the daily conversation on the topics of the day that matter most. Check out the Blaze Radio Network at theblaze.com/radio with original shows like Buck Sexton, The Morning Blaze with Doc Thompson, Pat and Stu, and Jay Severin. Or if you need something to hold in your hands, subscribe to the Blaze magazine. So basically, anywhere you need to go, you can take the truth with you by taking the Blaze with you. This is the Blaze. Truth lives here. So just to recap, anywhere you need to go, you can take the truth with you by taking the Blaze with you. Find out all the ways at theblaze.com.
You've been listening to the Blaze Radio News on KLZ 560.
Randy Corcoran at 5, Laura Ingram at 8, Monday morning on KLZ 560.
It's a mighty fancy automobile. Oh, she's a real road king, all right. 0 to 60 in 7.5. She'll do a quarter mile, 13.40. 390 horsepower, 500 foot-pounds of torque. Whatever that is. Performance and image, that's what it's all about.
There's no such thing as a stupid question. This is Drive Radio. All of your automotive questions are just one phone call away. 303-477-5600. Drive Radio is made possible by the member shops of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. To find one near you, go to drive-radio.com. Now, Drive Radio on KLZ 560.
Yep, Drive Radio. John Rush, your host. Ken Bauer from Quick Tread is with me. KLZ 560. And lots of stuff going on today. I had several different things that I wanted to talk about that we'll see if we get time to get to. If not, we'll just roll right along like we have been. If you've got questions on tires especially, Ken is from Quick Tread, one of our sponsors. And Quick Tread is a mobile tire shop, literally, where they basically just bring everything to you. They, make sure your car's on a flat surface. And it's really about all they need to do to get your tires installed. Right, Ken?
That's right. We'll come right to the car wherever it's home, somebody's office, factory, wherever they're at. We'll come right to the car and take care of it there. And another thing we do is along those lines is we love fleets because we'll show up at your business location and we can knock out however many vehicles, 1, 2, 3, 20, whatever you have, we can knock it out right there on site. And then there's no need to send your employees over to the tire shop and waste hours of paid salaried time.
Right. One thing we should also mention that we haven't yet, Ken, is you guys handle everything. What I mean by that is you don't leave the old tires with the customer. You're taking the old tires with you. There's nothing left behind. You're not throwing old wheel weights, down their trash or anything along those lines. You guys are, you show up, you get the job done, you leave, customer has new tires, and off you go.
Yeah, we'd like to leave as little evidence as we possibly can of our time there, except for a happy customer. And I also will add that you said we handle everything. I like to say we handle everything from a Prius to a Peterbilt. We're equipped to handle even the biggest trucks.
True. That's true. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. So yeah, Ken, in fact, they've done some big stuff for me on my fleet, and I'll give a testimony as a fleet. Ken takes care of all of our tires on our fleet, and as Ken just said, what I do is, if we know we've got, 3 or 4 trucks to do on a particular day, or even one truck. This past week we had one truck that just all of a sudden, a vehicle's getting close, and all of a sudden, just overnight, boom, it's ready. Well, in that case, all I do is call Ken. Guys show up, drop off tires. If you want them put on, he'll put them on. However you want to do it, and off you go. So really, it's a very convenient way to do things. It's taken a lot of headaches out of my side of the fence as a fleet operator. So again, if you're a fleet operator, give Quick Tread a call. And Ken, give me your number real quick.
720-588-9055.
All right, Gene from Wheat Ridge, you're up next. What's going on, Gene?
Hey. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good show today. I love tire stuff.
All right.
My favorite sports car or hot rod is a 64 Cobra with a 289 engine.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason it's my favorite is because I was fortunate enough to be a wrench on that car for a driver in SCCA. He bought the car from Carroll Shelby.
Wow. Really?
It was fun.
Wow. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Great story, Gene. Thank you.
You betcha.
So what's your tire comment?
Well, I got problems, or I don't know, idiosyncrasies.
Okay.
I won't drive a tire that does not have a 2-ply tire wall,
Sidewall.
because I've never had a single ply out where it's tread yet. And seems like a lot of people aren't making 2-plies anymore. Is that right?
What do you drive? What kind of vehicle?
06 Grand Caravan.
Grand Caravan. I don't know that anybody makes a single ply.
Should all be 2-plies on
I
those.
would think so. It's a great question. You kind of stumped me on that one.
Every tire I go to buy, it's a single ply. I've been dealing mainly with discount, but I'm running Coopers right now, 2-ply.
Yeah, and Gene, by the way, I'm with you. I like the more plies on the sidewalls, the better. That's why I'm a big fan of guys with light trucks that have P series tires to begin with, going to an LT size or an LT type of a tire. You get the heavier sidewalls when you do that, and I just think they work better when you do it that way.
No doubt.
Would you advise the LT on this Caravan?
Probably not, because you won't like the ride when you do that.
Oh, I don't mind the ride as long as it drives decent.
I don't. And size wise, can you even get an LT that small?
I don't think so. On a Caravan, I don't think you'd be able to find an LT.
What, a 235/15?
Is it a 235/75?
No, it's a 70.
It's 235/70.
You might be able to find an LT in that size.
I can tell.
And if you did, you'd have a heavier sidewall if you did it that way. Ken's going to look right now and see if they make that size. But Gene, I'd venture to guess that you could probably go to an LT size. It's the same physical size of tire, so you'd have no issues with vehicle suspension, steering, anything like that. It's just a heavier tire. That's all.
Yeah.
How about tire mileage? I drive.
It'll get a higher mile too.
I drive to Galveston once a year and Kansas City several times a year.
Yeah, it would be a higher mile tire too. Do they make them is the question.
Yeah.
No.
I'm looking at my supplier. I've got, I don't know, call it 60, 70 results here, and not a single one's an LT.
Okay.
And that's probably because of the 70 series. If you had a 75 series, I think you could find one. It's the 70 series that's a problem.
75, no problem.
Yep.
70 is.
Well, I could probably put a 75 on there. They're 15-inch mag wheels.
As long as it would clear everything, you'd have to just try that out and see.
Yeah. Well, I think that pretty well covers it.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it, Gene. Thanks for the phone call. One line open. 303-477-5600 is the number. Drive Radio is the program. Randy from Castle Rock, you're up next.
Hey, this is my second one today. But,
That's okay.
I had a question. You had mentioned top-end engine cleans before on that, and I don't know if it's a recommended service, but I was going to ask you how many miles might it be recommended for that kind of service, and what am I getting out of there that I'm not going to get without that service? Like 44K won't do what that'll do.
44K will do a certain amount, and it's a great, maintenance measure to do on an annual or even biannual basis. What the top engine cleaner, a motor vac we call it, does is, it's a pressurized detergent that's run through its own gas tank into your system where it's cleaning, everything that the fuel touches. And 44K will do the same thing, but it's just not as heavy duty as what we do with our motor vac.
And I know it's pretty heavy duty, so you must have a pretty heavy duty system hookup set up.
Oh yeah, it's its own machine. Everything is self-contained inside of its own machine. The guys spend, believe it or not, the machines nowadays are around $4,000 to $5,000 for the machine, and there's a special solution that you use inside of it, and that's why that particular service costs $300 to $400 to have done.
Yeah, I wanted to ask your ballpark on that, but again, we're not taking everything apart so you can get in there and actually do it.
No, it's all done through chemicals.
Right, so you're connecting into whatever you connect into.
That's right.
Let it take it do its thing.
That's correct.
I got 116 on there. Is there a recommended time, or just every 100,000 miles maybe, or
really about every 60?
Oh, 60. Wow.
Yeah, 50 to 60 is really. I can't talk. Where you really want to do it.
Huh. Well, okay, because I wanted to keep that in mind, but I was wondering what I was getting, what bang for the buck that I was getting.
It's worth doing. It's well worth doing. It's a great top engine cleaning. Makes the engine not only last longer but perform better, get better fuel economy. It over time pays for itself. It's not so big of a deal when we've got $2 a gallon gasoline, but when we have $4 a gallon of gasoline, it's a really big deal.
Now, is that something I can wait on? It might take a couple hours, or is this I get in the car?
Typically takes a couple of hours. Yes, you can typically wait. Just depends on the shop you're going to. You're in Castle Rock, so call Dennis over at Extreme. He can help you out with that. Yep.
Yeah, that's where I would go.
Yep.
Okay, I
All
just
right.
wondered on that. Thank
All right.
you very much.
Appreciate it, Randy, very much. Thanks for the phone call. Let's go to Randy in Denver, who is next. Randy, welcome.
Hey, thanks a lot for taking my call.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling us.
Hey, I got a friend that has a 2000 Crown Vic. She's a little old lady.
Okay.
And the intake manifold, we took it in and they said it's leaking.
Yep. It's normal.
And that's what the mechanic was saying. He's saying that those things they extended the warranty by Ford for like an extra 7 years.
I believe that's correct.
Can you tell me about what a job like that runs cost-wise?
Off the top of my head, I don't have a clue. I have to sit down, look at it, and determine, parts, labor, and so on. But I'm guessing it'll be $500 or less. But it's not an inexpensive thing to fix. It's not a $100 fix by any means.
Okay. This guy was talking about $1,000.
And it could be if he's putting an intake on it, it could be.
Okay.
And sometimes that's the proper fix.
Okay, and that's the proper fix is to put a new intake on it.
It depends on the year, what's been done to it, but typically speaking, yes, you're going to want to put an intake on it.
Okay, and do you have any idea if Ford is still doing any rebates on that?
No, not at this point. That's 15 years ago. No, they're not.
Okay. Well, that's what I needed to
All right.
know.
Appreciate the phone call. All right. We got a couple lines open. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air. 303-477-5600. Favorite muscle car, tire question, comments, questions, you name it. We'll take them. We're going to come right back right after this, though. Don't go away. John Rush, Ken Bauer, Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Hunting down that hard-to-find part for an out-of-the-ordinary car can be quite a time-consuming chore. Unless, of course, you just go around the corner to your local Napa Auto Parts store, where we have over 310,000 parts, all of them made to fit and perform just like the original. Yeah, there are people who say it's the journey and not the destination, but those people have never tried to find an alternator for an 82 Fiat on a Saturday. Go to NapaOnline.com for the location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff.
And my dad owns Gino's Auto Service in Littleton. What does our expansion mean for you? Savings on all our repair and maintenance services. We work on all makes and models, and your satisfaction is always guaranteed. At Gino's, we use genuine Napa parts and are AAA approved. Stop by and see the transformation at Bowles and Platte Canyon, or visit us online at Gino'sAutoservice.com. That's Gino'sAutoservice.com.
Arvada West Auto wants to help you get the best fuel mileage you can. Approximately 3.5 million gallons of gas a day are lost due to underinflated tires. There are many things we can do to help you boost your fuel mileage, and most of it comes down to basic maintenance. No one likes to spend money on unplanned repairs. Let Arvada West Auto and Truck do what they do best. Keep your vehicles running at peak performance. From tune-ups to wheel alignments, they've got you covered with a 3-year or 36,000-mile warranty on most cars. On the web, visit ArvadaWestAutoandTruck.com or call 303-422-1065. Arvada West Auto and Truck, where every question is important. Located on West 64th Avenue between Ward Road and Sims.
Ever try to buy an air filter and get lost in catalogs and vehicle descriptions? Well, K&N, the inventor of reusable cotton filters, has got the answer to the mess. Just visit knfilters.com and enter your vehicle identification number off your dashboard or car registration, and K&N will show you the filter that fits your car. It's never been easier to buy a K&N, the filter that helps your car run better.
Ken Bauer. It's all right. Drive Radio. Ken from Quick Trade is with us. If you got tire questions, he is your guy. He will answer your questions. And Ken, give your phone number out one more time just so folks know who to call after the show's over.
You bet. Give us a call at 720-588-9055.
And your website is?
Quick Trade. That's QUIKTREAD.com, or find us on Facebook.
There you go. Perfect. All right. Let's go to Barry. He's up next. Barry, welcome to Drive Radio.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Quick
you.
question on ST trailer tires.
Yes.
Are there any trailer tires made outside of China?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Carlisle, I believe their entire line is made in the United States.
I think you're right, Ken.
I'm almost positive on that. Other than Carlisle, I don't know. I don't know that that if there are, they're few and far between. But Carlisle, I'm 99% sure makes their entire line. I know they make most of it. I'm 99% sure they make the entire line in America.
Okay, good. That'll be the time, because I've been running Goodyear marathons, and I think they're the best of the bunch from what I've read in terms of trailer tires. So I will buy Carlisle next time I need tires. Can I ask a quick question about
and by the way, you can get those from Ken. I get my trailer tires from Ken, so he can get those for you.
We have we've actually got a great I don't know what's the right word, but we sell a lot of Carlisle, so we've actually got some really aggressive pricing on Carlisle tires actually.
Oh, wonderful. So. Okay, and you would come to where my trailer's located?
Yes, sir.
And stick them on for me?
Yeah, it makes it way easier that way.
Easier.
Oh God, that's wonderful.
Yep.
Can I ask a quick question on diesel fuel?
Of course you can.
We have talked about the top tier gasolines. What about diesel fuel? Is there a top tier diesel fuel?
There is not. The biggest thing that you need to make sure on diesel fuel is that you're buying from somebody that sells a lot of it so that it's fresh.
Okay.
That's the biggest thing on diesel. If you buy, diesel fuel from somebody that sells just a little bit of it and it sits in the tank and grows algae, that's what you don't want. But as long as you're buying good, fresh diesel fuel, you'll be fine.
Wonderful, wonderful. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thanks for your phone call. We appreciate it more than you know. Let's go to Jan, who's next. Jan, welcome to Drive Radio. What can we do for you?
Hi. Well, I like very much what you said about the Kia because I got mine in 09, the Kia Sportage V6.
Got it.
And I've never been so happy with a car in all my life.
And they're good cars.
I've owned a lot of different ones.
Yep. No, they work very well.
I previously had Nokian tires on this car, but they wore evenly, but they wore down in half the time they were supposed to last.
Okay.
And because I had only had them balanced once in that period of time, they would only give me 30% off a new set.
So,
how critical is it to have that balancing done like every 5,000 miles?
Well, let's be clear. So it's critical to rotate them every 5,000 miles. It can't hurt to balance them, but if balancing is not necessary.
I'm sorry. I meant to say rotate.
Okay,
yeah, rotate's critical.
Yeah,
yes.
Rotating is definitely critical. And, you said they're Nokians, so chances are good. Was it a Nokian winter tire? Because most Nokians.
No,
okay.
No.
All right.
There's all season, I get all season.
Okay, well,
but it's so funny. They all wore evenly.
All wore evenly, but because you couldn't. Here's what I would tell you to do in the future: buy your tires from Quick Tread, and you won't have that problem.
Well, I live up in the mountains, and we have a Big O there, and I like the fact that Big O's are all over the country.
Sure.
And, they're easy to do business with. But I just recently, I didn't go back to Nokian then, but they suggested the Uniroyal Tiger Paws.
That's a great
and
tire.
That's what, oh, is it? Well, I'm
Absolutely.
glad to hear that because that's what I had them put on my Kia now.
That's a good choice. We are big fans of that tire, and it's
really,
it's not a super well-known. They used to be a very well-known tire. It's not a super well-known tire, but I think they are phenomenal tires for the price.
Well, with the price, it was $200 a piece for the Nokian and $91 a piece for the Uniroyal. So,
Yep.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, Jan. Thank you for calling us. 303-477-5600. Let's go to Jay, who's up next. Jay, welcome.
Hey, guys. I talked to you earlier about the American cars, the LeSabres,
Yes.
and I was telling my son-in-law about it, and he said, geez, I wish you would have asked them this question. He has it's either a 32 or 36 foot fifth wheel.
Okay.
And he is getting a new truck. And he said, ask him what they would recommend as far as a diesel to pull that thing goes.
Well,
there's a can of worms you're opening up right here.
Dodge, in my view,
an F-150 that had a
F-150 is not enough truck to pull that with, so you need a big diesel. So you're in my view, and I'm sorry Ford for saying this, but in my view, you need to buy a new Dodge or a new Duramax.
And it help me with Duramax.
Chevy or GMC.
Okay, Chevy or
GMC.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is just because of the longevity that the Duramax has had, the longevity that the Cummins has had. Those both of those are fantastic engines. The cab design of all three trucks is fantastic, Ford, Chevy, or Dodge. just me personally, I just feel more comfortable with the Chevy and the Dodge as I do the Ford. Now I own a Ford. That doesn't mean that, I wouldn't buy another one, but, just in my fleet, I've had really the best truck I'm driving right now in my fleet, and what I've had the least amount of issues with are the Duramaxes.
Gotcha. Okay. Terrific.
Okay. Does that help you?
It does.
All right. Appreciate the
Thank
phone
you.
call. You bet, Jay. Thank you very much. All right. Lines open. We had several call in. Larry answered some of them off air. We've got open lines, which hardly ever happens at 12:23. Call us right now and we'll get you right on air. 303-477-5600. And the last question I always hate, because I hate, ditzing or not recommending a particular, brand of truck, Ken. And I nothing against, Fords. I'm not a anti-Ford guy by any means, but I just think longevity wise and how the between the Duramax and the Allison transmission that it has and the Dodge, and they just, they work well. We've got a good dealer network here in our area. I will say that I've had some issues with my Fords, and it's why I don't own a lot of other new Fords since 2011.
I own a Ford diesel, and I would probably buy a Duramax or Cummins too right now. So you nailed it. That the Ford engine has changed so many times over the past, decade and a half. And the Duramax and the Cummins, those are pretty, granted the Cummins has changed, but
it
seems to be pretty close to what it's always been.
All right. I had a comment or a caller earlier ask, and I wanted to do this during this particular segment to recap the collector plates. So here's how they work. Collector plates, and they had some changes back in August 7th of 2013. So changes the definition of a collector item to include vehicles that are 32 years and older, requires vehicles model year 76 and later to comply with emissions testing requirements upon registration and re-registration unless you had collector plates prior to the change of August 7th, 2013. If you did, emissions tests are not required. But if you did it after that, then yes, you've got to get an emissions test. Requires the vehicle owner of collector item or the collector's item to sign an affidavit acknowledging that the vehicle will not be driven on roadways more than 4,500 miles per year. Okay, so there's an affidavit now that you have to sign. It's 32 years and older. 75 and older vehicles, you don't need an emissions test for. 76 and newer, you would. All right. Got lines coming in. One line open is all 303-477-5600. James was just with us and dropped off for some odd reason. James, call me, and I'll get you right back on air, 303-477-5600. When you call in, too, if you're calling and it's not getting answered, it's not because we're really trying to avoid your call. It's because Larry probably has 2 or 3 other calls at the moment that he's actually dealing with. So when you call in and the phone rings a little bit, just keep letting it ring, and Larry will get to you. So we've got a line open. Call us. We'll get you right back on air, 303-477-5600. Dean, you're up next. Hello, Dean.
Yes, this is Dean. Reason I'm calling about tires.
Okay.
I have a 2008 Mercury Sable. It came with Pirelli tires and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then I put Michelin Defenders on, and my mileage dropped a good 3 to 4 miles per gallon when I put those tires on.
Okay.
They're 90,000 mile tires, and when I looked on the internet regarding them, I bought them from the Ford dealer, and they kept on assuring me, no, that's not going to cause problems. But on the internet, about 1 out of every 10 responses on the internet were they decreased my mileage. And most of them were just small cars, so I thought, I'll be safe with a bigger car. But they sure dinged my mileage, and they're 90,000 mile tires, and I thought, well, they'd be a harder compound and stuff like that. And
do they have a more aggressive tread than the Pirellis? I don't know the 2 tires off the top of my head. Does the Michelin have a more aggressive tread?
Not really, no. And that's what I'm surprised at. So I've had other Michelins and never had problems, but,
Go ahead,
and they ride nice, they drive nice, but, boy, they sure cut my gas mileage down.
I understand.
It's really interesting. The Defender is actually, it's one of their, I think they call it Green X or something like that. It's part of that line, which is actually, according to Michelin, enhances your economy of your tires. Did you change sizes by chance?
No. same size, everything. It killed my gas mileage.
Are you relying on your gas mileage numbers from the onboard computer, or are you calculating it by hand?
No, the onboard computer.
Those are never, granted, it drops, but I never trust those computers. But still, I don't know if it would make. That's really bizarre. You're the first I've heard to say that your mileage decreased. And I don't know about the reviews that you're reading online, obviously, but I wonder if some of them are, I expected my mileage to increase and it didn't increase as much, and they make it sound like I don't know, but I cannot. Sorry, go ahead.
Most of the comments were, about 1 out of every 10 comments were that it decreased their gas mileage, 3 to 4 miles a gallon. And that's what it's done with ours. I usually get 28 to 32, and now if I get 28, I'm lucky.
Now, is the Pirelli listed as an all-season? Because the Michelin is.
Yeah, Michelin's all-season.
Yeah, it was.
The Pirelli was an all-season. The only thing I could think of, and again, I don't know the two tires, is that the Pirelli just doesn't have as aggressive as a tread, siping, things like that, as the Michelin does. That's the only thing I could think of.
But again, it's one of Michelin's low rolling resistance tires. It's designed to enhance fuel mileage, not de-enhance, whatever the word is.
Now, were the Pirellis what the car came with from the factory?
Correct.
There's your answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because the OEM tires are designed differently than anything you're going to buy in the aftermarket.
He's right.
Yeah. Well, I kept on asking the dealer, and I asked him about 20 times.
The difference is that's a factory tire, and it will perform differently and typically get better fuel economy because that's what the manufacturer required when they spec the tire.
Well, and that's the tire the manufacturer, they wanted to. Yeah. We'll use the word juice the gas mileage, so they picked the tire that gave them the best. Absolute
and even spec'd it. They go out and say these are the specs we need for this vehicle. Who's going to build it for what price? Pirelli came along and said, okay, we'll be the ones to do it. They won the bid, and then they have to honor that. Now the problem is finding that exact same tire in the aftermarket, which is tough to find.
Yeah. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, these were 90,000 mile tires. I figure they'll probably last me a long time, but in the meantime, I'm getting beaten up at the gas pump.
Well, at least the prices are low right now, so that helps.
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
Had a second question,
sure,
if you don't mind.
Go ahead, Dean.
I got a 68 442.
Okay.
And the radio doesn't work. I'd like to get the radio out and have it just checked or something like that. How do you pull those knobs off?
Those knobs just pull off.
They do, huh?
Yeah, those just slide off.
Can they be hard? I can't pull them off.
Well,
I've tried
since 1968, yeah, they could be really hard.
Well, the radio's been changed once. It's a 68 radio. It's changed from an AM to an AM/FM.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So,
they should still come off. I've seen them where they're really, really hard, and you have to be careful. You don't want to chip the knobs trying to get a screwdriver or something behind there, but they typically will pull off.
Yeah. Okay, so if I pull as hard as I can, it's not going to break anything.
No, it should come off.
Okay, well, it hasn't so far, but other than that, I think it's somebody stronger than I am. So anyway.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks, Dean, very much. Appreciate the phone call. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back. I do want to recap the legislation that's going through right now to allow you guys to not have to pay late fees if you let your registration slip. We have one line open also, 303-477-5600. Ted's got a question on a motorhome tire. Mark's getting queued up right now, and we have one line open. We'll be back right after this. John Rush, Ken Bauer, Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Have you failed an emissions test and don't know what to do? Have you been trying to fix it yourself? Arvada West is your answer. We score 100% on our success ratio. That's confidence for the customer. We are always willing to explain the repair process to you. We use a proven diagnostic format that we have developed since the emissions program began here in Colorado. For an honest, understandable, and reasonably priced diagnosis, stop by and see us. We've helped clean our Colorado air since 1981. Call Arvada West Auto and Truck 303-422-1065 or see us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com. If you would like to stop by to make an appointment, we are at 11752 West 64th Avenue.
Need a one-stop auto repair solution in Boulder? At John's 4x4 Center, they service and maintain more than just 4x4s. From big trucks to diesel pickups, their team of service specialists and technicians have the computer diagnostics, tools, and expertise to service and repair any make or model. They combine their skills with integrity, giving you the best service in the industry. From preventative maintenance to major repairs, you can trust your vehicle to John's 4x4. Located on Arapahoe Road, just east of 63rd, behind Carpet One. They're open Monday through Friday, 7:30 until 5:30, with convenient shuttle service and after-hours drop. If you're ready to form a solid relationship with an auto repair shop, the new owners at John's 4x4 Center are committed to providing the personal and professional service you're looking for. Give them a call at 303-449-2640. Check them out on the web or follow them on Facebook at johns4x4.com.
Are your tires unsafe? If it's time to get new tires, don't go to a tire shop. Instead, let Quick Tread bring its mobile tire shop to you. One call to 720-588-9055, and Quick Tread's tire experts will help you choose the best tires for your vehicle, lifestyle, and budget. Then, Quick Tread will bring its state-of-the-art mobile tire shop to your home or workplace and mount and balance your new tires right there, all while you relax and enjoy the 3 hours you didn't spend going to a regular tire shop. Give Quick Tread a call at 720-588-9055 and see how much better buying new tires can be.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle. Regardless of make or model, you want your vehicle to take you where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers offer. They've set the standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each member offers Napa Auto Care Peace of Mind warranty, along with the highest level of customer service and integrity. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-NAPA.
All right, Drive Radio, John Rush, Ken Bauer. We'll get to the bill that's going through the legislation right now. I'll just recap it real quick. I can get into more details if we can before the top of the hour. Basically, Patrick Neville is actually trying to run a bill through the Senate right now. It's Bill 18, so that'd be SB 1518, I guess is how they would say that. It's trying to repeal the vehicle registration late fee that right now is $25 a month if your registration lapse, and it caps at $100. His feeling is this really is not necessary. It's an unfair penalty basically to people, especially people like us that have older cars. You're working on a car, you've let it lapse on purpose, you're not driving the car. Why should you be penalized when you're not even driving the car out on the road? You shouldn't be. It's an unfair tax, let's call it, and they're trying to get it repealed. If you're in favor of that, please let your legislator know here in the state that you are in favor of that, so we can get that thing passed and eliminate that $100 potential late fee that's there. So let's go to Ted, who is up next. Ted, welcome to Drive Radio.
Hi.
What can we do for you, Ted?
Well, I've got a motorhome, and I bought it used. I've had it a couple of years, so I think the tires were made in 2010.
Okay.
A lot of tread left, but how do I decide if I should replace them or keep driving them a while?
Look on the tire, on the side of the tire, each one of them will have a date code stamp. It's a 4-digit code that will say something like 0115.
You said they're 2010, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
or is the motorhome in 2010?
No, I was told by the place I had the oil change that they checked that it was a 2010.
I would verify those yourself because it's not hard to do. Just go look at the side of the tire, the sidewall of the tire. You'll find a 4-digit code. Again, if it says, 0110, those were made the first week of 2010. If it says, 050 of 10, they were made in the 50th week of 2010. So look at the date code. That'll verify that in fact is true or isn't true. And, on a motorhome, you could probably stretch that to, 6-7 years. You get much above that, I think I'd be changing them if it were me.
Yeah, I think, honestly, Ted, and we sell motorhome tires. We service motorhomes. We love the RV market, and they love us because we'll come right to the unit. I wouldn't worry too much about a 5-year-old tire if it has sufficient tread, even if it's stored outside. However, I love to see RV owners store their RVs with, tire socks or covers over the tires. But 5 years on a tire like that is probably going to be okay. 7 years, let's definitely be talking about fixing those or changing those.
Okay. Well, that's what I was wondering. Like I say, there's a lot of good tread, but everything I've read says you buy them, you place them on age, not mileage.
And they're absolutely correct, especially on an RV. But they
sure
are expensive tires, and as much as I'd love
are.
to sell you a set of tires,
Make
I
sure
don't
you
wanna-
need them first.
Yeah, I don't want to sell you tires you don't need.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right, Ted.
Okay.
Appreciate the phone call. Let's go to Mark, who has another tire question. Mark, welcome to Drive Radio.
Thanks. Real quick, favorite muscle car, 67 Chevy Chevelle.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Still own it.
Oh, good for you.
Yes.
That's even better.
Yes.
It's partially why it's your favorite.
Yes, exactly.
Awesome.
It's got the 283.
Good for you, Mark. That's awesome. Good job.
Yeah. Question for you guys. I have a 97 Jeep Wrangler running 10.5 31 15. Wondering what is your recommendation for a winter tire?
For a winter tire and a 31 by 1050.
On a Jeep, the Toyo Open Country would be a great tire.
But that's not a winter tire.
Well,
are we talking winter specific, or are we talking
all season?
Yeah,
All season?
winter specific. It seems like the back end, just because it's so light, the back end's a little squirrely.
Okay.
Yeah, they are a little bit.
Master. I mean, if you want to, it's more on the open tread. It's going to wear a little bit faster, but for the price, the Mastercraft Corsair is a great tire. I do like the more aggressive tire on a car like a Jeep. I mean, if you're going, well, Cooper's, you know what? The Cooper MS Discoverer, or Discover MS technically, is a great winter tire. Actually, I take back the Corsair and I say the Cooper. Go with the Cooper Discover MS is a phenomenal tire. We've got those tires actually in stock right now, and if it's something you want to look at, they're about $140 a tire.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
No, it's for a snow tire, and especially for a Cooper snow tire, that's a pretty darn good price.
Gotcha. And then quick question, do you also sell wheels?
We can get any wheel you want. We don't stock wheels as a rule, just because I can't handle that much inventory. It's just too much to deal with, but we can get you just about any wheel you want. So absolutely we can.
All right, perfect.
All right.
So give us a call. Our number is 720-588-9055, or if you want us to call you, just stay on hold. We can click you back to Larry.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, sounds great. Appreciate it very much, Mark. All right, line open, 303-477-5600. Mark in Greeley, you're up next. Mark, welcome. What's going on today?
Yeah, hey guys. Favorite hot rod ever, I think, would have to be a 1970 Chevelle SS with a 454 blue with a white stripe.
It's one of
I
mine.
only have a model. It's real, cast iron, small model. I've always dreamt of actually owning the real thing. But
I actually, and I don't know if you ever did or not, but I actually got to ride in and drive in one of those cars back in the day, back in the 70s and 80s. And I tell you what, that's just a phenomenal automobile.
My dad had one, and then he wrapped it around a tree.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Man. It's a great car.
Yeah, it's beautiful and very, very well designed, I think. But my question is about actual tire gauges.
Okay.
I've got like a regular Napa True flat metal type gauge analog, which I think works a whole lot better than the digital Slime brand, I guess it is, gauge that I have. And I wanted to find out if you guys have a better quality, more accurate gauge than the cheap, probably Slime company from, I don't know, China. Maybe, I'm not sure where this is from.
Mm-hmm. They probably all come from China. Let's just be honest.
Bummer.
I can't imagine that they don't. We use Cobalts. So Cobalt is Lowe's own house brand, and they've got a great gauge. We've had really good. We feel like it's accurate. They're really inexpensive for the quality. They've got a depth gauge on them also, if that comes in handy for you. And you can get them at Lowe's. They're great.
Do you know if they go up to about 100 PSI roughly?
I think they go to 125. If my partner were here, he could answer that.
Yeah, I
right
don't know.
off.
In the digital one that I've got, I think I have an AccuTire. I don't quote me on that. I'd have to go home and look and see, but I think I have an AccuTire digital gauge that I use. I don't know what its, now I don't know what its limit is. In fact, I do know I have an AccuTire Professional, which you can buy, looks like on the internet, for about $25, and that gauge works fantastic. I've had great luck with it.
Yeah, that's a more, you're definitely on the more expensive side, but you get what you pay for.
Yeah,
So
I mean, the way I look at it is, you know what, $25 to own that the rest of your life and use it to check tire pressure with, that's really not that expensive.
I couldn't agree
So Cobalt, but you said the AccuTire would be a little higher quality.
Yeah, now AccuTire makes a low end and a high end. Just make sure you're buying their high end digital gauge.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not a big fan of the slime, the little like plastic
Yeah, I don't
version.
know that one.
I've actually had a few of them. They sell them at like AutoZone,
Okay.
Brooks, and they
Okay.
just fall apart. And anytime you're trying to actually check the tire pressure, you have to put the little thing on the nozzle or on the trader valve, at least 5 to 10 times before it'll actually read.
Oh, yeah.
A
Yeah, no.
pressure, which is
That's
really
one I've got.
frustrating.
You just put it on there, hold it, and it reads it so you can actually pull it off and look at it, and away you go.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Appreciate it. I should have brought some tire gauge samples, and I could have shown them up on YouTube and showed everybody, but I didn't really think ahead far enough on that. But anyways, line open 303-477-5600. Mickey, you're up next. What can we do for you today? Hello, Mickey.
Oh, yeah, yes. I have a question about a tire that I had that went flat on me. I have dedicated snow tires,
Okay.
and they're Yokohama Ice something, Ice Guard, I think. And so I filled up the tires, and I don't know if this is correct, but when I store the tires during the summer, I only leave about 20 pounds in them. So I filled the tires up with air, and they worked for about 3 days, and then when I was going to work, and the car really pulled hard to the right, and the tire was flat.
Okay.
It only had a couple pounds in it. Well, I took the tire in to get it looked at discount, but they said they wouldn't do anything because the tire was over 10 years old. But there's no weather checking or anything like that because I store the tires in plastic bags and keep them out of the sun. And I put air in the tire, and I kept checking it, and it wouldn't. It kept the same air, so I put the tire back on the car, and it seems to be fine now.
Could have had a bad spot in the bead. Could have been any number of things that caused that. And I would recommend when you store them, even during the winter months, I wouldn't let any air out of them. I would go ahead and store them at whatever pressure you're running them at, and just see what kind of loss you have, storing them that way, so you know from one season to the next what they're dropping. But there's no need to let any air out of them.
Oh, okay.
The only other thing I can think is if there's any corrosion on the inside of the wheel where the bead is locking up and contacting the wheel.
That'd be it. Yeah,
could
be.
Yeah, but I
you'd have to look at it to know.
Yeah.
No, they wouldn't even look at it because they
Yeah,
said
and
it
I can
was
understand
10
that,
years old.
and I, a lot of our Colorado Select facilities are going to look at it the same way, because the age of the tire, you're getting past the age of really, liability wise, being able to work on that tire safely.
Yeah, they can't. They can't. There's too much at risk
Insurance,
for them.
etc. You just can't do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, Mickey. Appreciate the phone call very much. Let's go to Mike, who's up next. Mike, I tell you what, sorry, Mike, I'm going to put you back on hold. We're up against a break. Let's go do a break real quick. We have one line open, 303-477-5600. Mike, from Colorado Springs, you'll be up first. Mike in Littleton, you're second, and we'll be back right after this. Don't go away. John Rush Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle. Regardless of make or model, you want your vehicle to take you where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers offer. They've set the standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each member offers Napa Auto Care Peace of Mind warranty, along with the highest level of customer service and integrity. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-NAPA.
We've all been there. You run to the hood and suddenly realize you don't have the parts you need. Or even worse, you don't know what parts you need. Well, at Napa Auto Parts, we have ASE certified parts specialists that'll make sure you find that right part. One covered by a warranty good at any one of 6,000 Napa locations. Yeah, finding the right part might not be easy, but fortunately, finding the right part store is. Go to NapaOnline.com for the location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff.
Having transmission problems? Stop by Larry's Automotive today. We're your only Colorado Select Auto Care in North Denver that also specializes in automatic and manual transmissions. We're a family-owned small business taking care of your family-owned fleet of cars, trucks, and SUVs since 1994. We specialize in transmission and drivetrain problems and offer a 3-year, $36,000. Also an ATRA member. Call us at 303-427-2108 for an appointment or find us on the web at coloradoselect.com. Larry's Automotive, a proud member of Colorado Select Auto Care.
24 seconds. I timed it. It took me just 24 seconds to find a AAA certified master mechanic who offers the best peace of mind warranty in the state. A 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on every repair. At coloradoselect.org, I search my city and boom, I'm done. Colorado Select Auto Care puts their member shops through a rigorous set of requirements, so I know no matter which shop I choose, I'll get the best auto repair service possible. That's 24 seconds well spent. coloradoselect.org.
All right, John Rush Drive Radio, Ken Bauer, Quick Tread. And Scott Watley, I just saw him walk into the other side of the glass talking about how many birds they shot this morning. So I'm on the radio, and he's out hunting. What's wrong with that picture? We'll get him in here in a minute and talk about what's coming up on Sportsman's of Colorado here in just a few minutes. But let's go to the phones. Mike in Colorado Springs, you're up first. What's going on?
Okay, first thing, favorite muscle car, 67 GTO.
Oh, yeah, good car.
I always love those things.
Yep.
Hey, I've got a motorhome that you were talking about age on the tires. I've been checking with the pros, and they keep telling me they're okay, but they're 9 years old. I think it's time to change them
Yeah,
out.
you're getting there. You're getting where you need to change them.
And I was just wondering, since you got a tire guy there, what is a recommendation for the best rubber to put on that thing that's going to last
What
you a while?
motorhome do you, or what are you driving? What class motorhome?
It's a Class A. It's got 19.5s on it, 225 19.5s.
So, Michelin and Goodyear are the premier tire in that size. I mean, for that size motorhome or larger for that matter, but they are extraordinarily expensive.
Yeah, they sure are. There's Goodyears on there, and I have to admit, that once again, they've been on there for 9 years, no problems, no weather checking. The guys that look at them from Goodyear and other tire shops say, they're fine.
Yeah.
They're even telling me run another year, but I'm just getting a little nervous.
Now, what I will tell you is, I'll just throw this out, this caveat for you and Ken both. If you end up doing something with Ken and he takes those in, I'll make sure Ken gives you a decent price on a trade, because I've got an old truck I could probably still run those on for a little while, and that way you all could make a good deal, and I'll get a good deal when it's all said and done. So you and Ken get figured out how you want to do that, and I'll at least buy your old tires and give you a little bit for them.
That's a great deal.
Bad. I'll hang on and give my phone number.
Let's do that. I'll get you on hold, and Larry, get his name and number for Ken so that we can get them together after the show. And let's go to the next Mike in Littleton. Mike, welcome to Drive Radio.
Yes, sir. I wanted to confirm what they were saying about the Cooper Discovery. I've been running those on my 2000 Durango. That's the 31-10.5. Not easy to find a true winter tire in that size.
Agreed.
And I'm very pleased, especially the fact that they seem to be a little bit more tolerant of being run when the temperatures are a little bit warmer, which, like now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to take them off because it's going to be 70 degrees today.
Right.
It can be 30 again later. I'm very, very pleased with them. Couple of other things. I wanted to confirm, we were talking about whether to put the good tires on the back or on the front. And I guess my gut feeling is the people that make the tires tell you to put the best ones on the back.
They do.
And I kind of tend to go with that. And Car and Driver did a test on that years ago where they actually took 50% worn tires and new tires, and they put them on front to back, whether it was front wheel drive, rear wheel drive, or all wheel drive. And everybody did better going through the ice course.
Yep.
With the good ones on the back.
They did.
Because the front tires, they said, give you a warning when you're starting to lose traction. By
And the back
time
ones
you
don't.
feel
That's
anything
true.
from the rears, you're already past the point of no return.
Were they using good drivers or novice drivers, or do you remember?
They had professional drivers, and then they had magazine writers.
Got it.
And it didn't matter. The pros did better,
Of course.
but not that much better.
Interesting. Interesting, because most of the magazine writers aren't, no offense, the greatest of drivers.
Right, and they actually admitted that. Some of them were, and then they said which ones were.
Got it.
And some of them weren't, but they said basically it didn't matter what the skill level was. Everybody did better with with the good ones on the back, just because of the fact that it gave you a little bit of chance to recover if it started to
I
go.
think,
And,
I think you're right.
Watch a car go down a drag strip.
Yep.
When they get in trouble,
it's the back.
Yep. No, you're right. You're exactly right.
Yeah, it's because the back ones go out. And one more thought. Many years ago, I think it was Popular Mechanics did a summary of a test on tire life where they took OEM tires, and this years ago, and OEM tires weren't as good as they are today, and they put them on the big tire test track that approximates a straight line. That apparently was something up in Michigan. That's a great big thing. It's got reverse banks and everything, so that the car thinks it's going in a straight line even when it's going around a curve.
I know what you're talking about. Yep.
And they got 200,000 miles out of OEM tires. They took those same tires and they put them in a figure 8 track, and they went 900.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tire life for me has always been
Yes.
and
Has to do with the driver as much as anything.
what kind of driving does the person do?
Yep.
I mean, like my wife drives a block and turns, drives another block and turns, another block
Yep.
and turns.
Those are hard on tires.
And one last thought, I've got some Armstrong Norseman tires on my pickup, and I hate to say it, but they're dated 1992,
Yeah, I bet they are.
and I don't go on the highway with
Yeah,
them.
those are good old tires.
Please don't.
You bet. No, thank you, Mike, for calling in. We appreciate it very much. 303-477-5600. Might be able to take one more call. Paul, you're up next. What can we do for you, Paul?
Hey guys, a couple questions. First one, we own a 2000 Tundra and a 2005 4Runner, and my first question is, my understanding is that at higher altitude, octane, using a higher octane gasoline is not as important because of, the increased volatility isn't necessarily work against you when you have less oxygen. Can you speak to that?
Well, at our altitude,
the basis for that question is that I just run the, lowest grade in my Tundra, and it seems to do fine. My wife always wants to put mid-grade in her 4Runner, spend the extra money because she claims she thinks she gets better gas mileage.
you know what? And she may. We've had reports back in from even shop owners in our radio show, Colorado Select Group here, where mid-grade will get them a little better fuel economy. And really, what we have found is it really depends on the vehicle and the driver. What happens in our altitude is, as you and everybody else out there, I'm sure, is full aware of, our octane is 2 notches lower than what you would find at sea level. So if we are at 87 octane, that's the same as 89 at sea level. 89 is the same as 91. 91 is the same as 93. I tend to be, more like you, that typically the low grade gas for the most part works just fine. Now, if you've got a performance vehicle, something with a turbo, something with a little more compression, I think the higher grade gasolines do in fact help.
Okay. And then my second question was on, I run synthetic oil in our vehicles, and the question is in terms of like the extended life stuff that they say runs up to 15,000 miles. Isn't impurities and dirt in oil one of the bigger issues?
Yes,
for
that's
changing
yeah,
rather than
it is, and that's why you've got to make sure that you run a platinum or a really high end oil filter. And I don't know that I would ever tell anybody to go 15,000 miles. I think 10 is pushing it on even extended intervals, depending upon the vehicle and the type of driving that you do and so on. But you'd be fine with a high. You just got to make sure you're using a high quality oil filter, to your point, because it's going to get dirty.
Okay, what would you recommend in that? Because I've always bought from the dealer, the Toyota one.
No, you can buy a better filter than that. Go to Napa, buy their Napa Premium. It's called their Platinum Premium filter. Go buy their premium. Again, it's just called the Platinum filter, the Napa Platinum, not gold, but the Platinum filter.
Okay.
Okay.
And do you recommend the high mileage synthetics when you get over 100,000?
It doesn't hurt, but if you've been running synthetic the whole time, you don't have to use it. You can just keep running regular synthetic.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
All right, Paul, appreciate it very much. I think that was our last call for the day. We got a couple minutes left. Scott Watley just walked in all of his orange garb, and he's been out hunting this morning. He's got blood from, you name it. He's got them all. How many birds did you kill this morning?
30 birds today.
30 birds.
30 birds. We had a great hunt out at
Kiowa Creek?
Kiowa
Awesome.
Creek Sporting Club.
Someday I'm going to have to get a a guest host for the show and go with you.
Absolutely.
Or do a remote from Kiowa Creek. It's even be better.
That'd be awesome, bud. Now, real quick, we've got Matt Robbins, Public Information Manager for Colorado Parks and Wildlife, on the show today. We have Phoenix Weaponry, gentleman that I've introduced you as well, Aaron Casey and his wife.
We're going to try to get Aaron involved in Drive Radio.
And Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, we'll be talking about their banquet, a Ducks Unlimited banquet tonight we'll be going to. So a lot going on, so stay tuned.
Yeah, don't go away.
You guys talking about tires, Michelin MS2. My favorite tire.
Good tire.
I'm telling you, I drive a ton, 35,000 miles a year, and I get a ton of mileage off that. Best ride.
You're buying tires every other year.
Yeah, no kidding, man.
All right, guys, you can also go to our website, drive-radio.com. We've got just a list of all the different things that we've got there, all the links to all of our sponsors. You know, everybody is listed there. I encourage you to use that resource page, facebook.com/Drive Radio. One other thing, all of our car reviews, I didn't mention any today because we got so wrapped up in just tires and the conversation and everything that goes with that. But you can find our YouTube channel at YouTube. Just type in YouTube, go to YouTube itself, go to the search bar, type in Drive Radio, all one word. You'll find all of our reviews there. We put them up every single solid week. I just did one. I'll put up tomorrow on an LX GS. Yeah, can't talk. Lexus. It's not even LX. I can't talk. Lexus GX 460. There's also an LX on there, but this is the GX 460. Just drove that car. Great little, can't talk. Sorry, I got to clear my throat. Great little SUV, and it's not really little. It's got three full rows in it, but it's smaller than, say, a big Escalade or a Tahoe, something along those lines. It's really not much bigger than a 4Runner, but has the third seat. Very luxurious, nice car. It's got full low range capabilities. Height differentiation, so you can actually raise and lower the vehicle depending upon what you're doing off-road. Crawl features when you're off-road. Car works fantastic. Go check it out. Again, that's at our YouTube channel, Drive Radio, all one word. And you can watch us. So if you've been watching us on YouTube or you haven't been, but you'd like to see what we do in studio, go to our channel. Today's program, it's been streaming live the entire time. You saw Scott walk in. It's now looking over his shoulder. But you can actually watch us anytime you want and catch old shows there also. So, guys, with that, Ken Bauer, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, John. Thanks for having me.
It's been a blast. Larry Unger on the other side of the glass from Larry's Automotive, and Matt Matulik, our engineer. Guys, have a great weekend. God bless you. I'll be back on Monday. Rush to Reason, the rush hour drive time with Rush to Reason. Don't miss it. We're on 3 to 6 every evening right here on KLZ 560. Well, have a great weekend. Enjoy the weather. John Rush, your host, KLZ 560.
It's not the perfume that you wear. There's all the ribbons in your hair.
Still haven't had enough? Go to drive-radio.com. Email your questions and comments. Download previous programs and find lots of useful information, including your nearest Colorado Select Auto Care Center.